I got nothing funny to open the show with tonight, or interesting, or um. Uh, hi.
I could talk about P flaps again if you want.
I feel like we should
Beat
probably
that
just stay
horse.
away from flaps altogether.
I don't know.
It rarely goes well. It's not like we talk about airplanes a lot or anything.
Yeah. Well, we have a habit of sticking our foot into messes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monk. He's Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
Jack, how the hell are you doing today, man?
I'm kind of tired. Otherwise, I'm okay. Just taking a little nap before the show. It's pretty awesome.
I kind of did the same thing, but not in a more. I didn't mean for it to be a short nap. It's just that my wife accidentally woke me up and couldn't get back to sleep because this is day 2 from me deciding to go out and do stuff in the world, Jack. So it's been a rough one.
Yeah, I imagine.
But I did. My daughter texted me today, and I forget the name she used, but she said somebody must be a fan of ours, Jack, because the person uses the term "believe them when they tell you who they are" a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. I had a good day. It just painful. You know how it is. And then I wake up and I don't know if the son of a bitch who sent it to me wants me to mention their name, but somebody sent me a link to Tim Pool's stream tonight. And I knew I shouldn't click on it, Jack.
Well, it's Tim Pool. Of course you should.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't watch Tim Pool. That man is an irritating piece of shit. And dear God, did he prove it tonight.
Well, look, I've never accused Tim Pool being very smart, and there's a reason for that. He's not.
Now, there's 2 reasons I want to talk about this. 1, to shit on Tim because he deserves it.
Well,
And 2, because there is a point that gets brought up that I probably can help a lot of people that are in business or trying to get into what we do, Jack, and the way you do things. So let's start with just shitting on Timmy. For the record, I did not set this up purposefully to have him have that look on his face. It's just where I paused it because the next part that we're going to listen to is the part I want to listen to. I just think it's funny as shit that that's where it pauses, where he's looking like an angry landlord.
Yeah, an angry landlord who just smelled somebody's rank fart.
Yeah. So he did a stream tonight saying this might be the last IRL, or no, what is it? Timcast IRL, is that what he calls it? This might be the last one ever. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh no, it's not clickbait at all.
Dave Landau's in the middle of some shit again. Well, Dave didn't do anything wrong, and I actually felt bad for him because Dave Landau's a comedian, and you bring him on the show to make jokes and stuff, and he was trying his best. But dear God, was it a bad stream?
Was he on this stream?
Yes.
Oh. It's kind of hard to make Timcast funny.
At one point, Dave Landau makes the joke that Tim Walz, it's been reported that Tim Walz is now doing DoorDash. And Tim actually goes, wait, is that true or is that a joke? I'm like,
really? The guy running for VP would stoop to really.
Thank you. Thank you, tall person. Can't sleep, but at least I can catch one of these live. Happy National Nut Day to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. National Nut Day. Oh.
And
a big jar of peanuts does sound kind of good.
For all of those who are saying Tim was just clickbaiting, I don't think he was clickbaiting. I think he was, it's not really sympathy baiting. What is it? Affirmation begging.
Oh.
Because he is really thinking of ending his Timcast IRL show and just doing the other shows that he does. So it's not like he's actually walking away from everything. He's still going to do content and make his money. He's going to get his bag, as the kids say. But his main show, the one that most people watch and know about, he's thinking of walking away from that one, Jack. You know why?
I don't care. I mean, because people are mean to him.
Nobody there works as hard as he does.
Oh.
It's hard being a boss, and then nobody. Sometimes people are standing around talking, and He's busting his. He actually says this. He says that. Do you know how much I work? Do you know how long it's been since I've seen a sunset on a weekday? He actually said on a weekday,
Whose fault is that?
as though the sunset is different on a random Wednesday than a random Saturday.
Yes, they're
You're,
different. One is purple. I'm pretty sure that's science.
I just loved that he threw in on a weekday because he knew as soon as he said it that people go, "You don't work weekends, Tim."
Yeah, I don't think. I think Ham and Beans nailed this. Oh, bullshit. Oh my God, I do my job. You know what? Every entrepreneur out there puts a bunch of work in, Tim. Stop being a bitch. You don't like it? Start delegating assignments.
Dave asked if Tim was on the spectrum. Did he? I missed that.
That's hilarious. No, Tim's just a whiny bitch.
Oh,
look, anybody that's ever run a business, you knew this as a manager at Walmart, dude. It takes a lot of work to keep things running. And if you want it to run, you have to put that time in. That's your business. That's your shit.
Well, the funny part of that one is that he goes on to say, in this new studio, we don't even have windows. This is a millionaire. It does not take that much to have windows installed in a building. You can do that. I don't know if he knows. But it would be nothing. But one of the little guys on his show to help Tim make his point about how stuff doesn't get done unless Timmy does it. So Tim wants, I'm not making this up, a giant projection screen mounted on the wall of his studio. And it took them 3 months to get it done, Jack. 3 months.
I'd fire somebody.
Well, the reason it took 3 months is because, and I swear to you, I'm not making this up. You can go watch it. It was waiting for his approval. And you know how much work it takes for Tim to approve getting the thing that Tim wants? Apparently 3 months worth.
Well, then what's he complaining about?
Because he's a whiny little bitch.
Look, I understand if people aren't doing their jobs.
Fire them.
Then you fire them. That's the solution there you have as a boss. There's a remedy.
And that's part of the other part of what I said I wanted to talk about here is I think a lot of Tim's problems are that he thinks that, this is the Joe Rogan podcast, which just starts out with a couple of friends and Joe and becomes this major thing. And instead, he starts trying to jump right into the business side of it. And so he just gets all of his little skateboarder friends, the people known for their hard work ethic. To come in
financial acumen.
Yeah, to come in and do the stuff for him. So don't hire your friends. If you're going to hire people, you need to treat it like a real job, period. And I've seen this so much on YouTube where people just bring some. He's working for me. Did he fill out a W-2? Or is he getting a W-2 from you? Did he fill out a W-4? Or the I-9 or whatever the fuck it is these days? No, he's just some dude you throw money at and you guys claim don't do this. It's bad. It's just bad.
Into business. You got to make sure everybody's on the books and accountable. Write up a job description of exactly what they're expected to do. You have to treat it like a business, even if they're your friends.
I wanted to highlight this part of the stream though, because this is the part that just made me roll my fucking eyes. I strained my eyes rolling them so hard, Jack.
Oh, jeez. Oh, hang on a second.
Sure.
Thank you, tall person. And some for you, Mr. Jack. Happy Wombats of the World Unite Day. Beware, they live in the nightmare world of Australia and are good at tunneling, and a group of them is called a wisdom. Yeah, I like wombats. I think they're cool looking. But, if they start uniting, there might be a problem, especially if they're called a wisdom in a collective like that. Now, that's dangerous shit. Australians, be careful. Make friends with them. Create an alliance. Also, thank you, Tyrai, from last night after the show. Jack, you're the Starscream to Monk's Megatron, and we come from the same era of comics. That's because we're awesome. I appreciate how you and Monk play off each other. Oh, thank you. It did take some time for me to become accustomed to you, but now it's weird when you're not on with Monk. I get that a lot, mostly from people that visit my subterranean love den. But yeah, no, I'm a strange person. I fully admit that. So it does take people a little bit of time to adjust to my sense of humor and what I'm doing here. But thank you, Tyra. It's very nice of you.
Resolute Germ earlier said the term you want is pity whoring, and yes, that is actually the term I would have preferred.
Yeah, pity whoring. Oh, we got to use that more. That's a fun term.
This whole thing is just poor pity me. You guys have no idea how hard all this is. But this video we're about to watch, this clip here, this is actually the second time this gets brought up, but he goes more into detail with it here, and I just had to play this for you, Jack.
And that's a lot of things. We've for the shows that we've launched, obviously before we launched them, we reached out to other people who are already doing shows and said, hey, we could invest in this and help you grow it. And then the deal we would work is kind of like a record label deal. Like we'll get a small percentage and then but you control everything and we'll advertise it for you. No.
Hey, that thing you're already doing successfully, how about I take some of that money from you? You know, like the record companies.
Wow.
Is that really the pitch you want to? Hey, you know those folks famous for ripping off the people who work for them? We want to have that kind of relationship with you.
Yeah, that seems very corporate of you, Mr. Pseudo-anarchist.
Hey, you're doing really well. How about you give me? This is almost like mob shit, man. What the fuck? How do you even reach that out? I mean,
I don't know.
Hey,
we shout out people we like all the time. That's
I saw you were
being a fan.
I saw you were doing really good with your shtick there, and I feel like I deserve some of your money for that. How very Asian of Tim.
Wait,
go ahead.
I've got this figured out. I know what's happening. Take a close look at the screen. This is Dark Tim.
Oh, is that what this is?
This is Dark Tim. He's got a dark beanie on. His beanie's different. He's usually got the blue one. This is a black one. And I've seen enough Mirror Universe stuff to know this is evil Tim.
He's been rocking the black one for a while.
Yeah, he's been evil for a while. Where's real Tim? Is he locked away in a cage somewhere? Dark Tim had to grow a beard to blend in, or whatever passes for that.
Out of touch millionaire class. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't even talking about like bringing them on his channel. We'll do a little promotion for you. Give me some of your money.
Yeah, it's like the old marketing people that used to be on YouTube.
Yeah, the multi-level marketing schemes. Yeah. The what are they called? Multi-channel networks.
Yeah,
they might as well have called them the pyramid schemes.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. The Avon of media.
Wouldn't he have a negative goatee then? No, there is so little testosterone in Tim that he can't even grow a goatee in his negative form.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens.
But the whole thing is just one long, whiny fucking mess. And I felt bad for Dave Landau. He kept trying to make it funny. At one point, he even had to say, no, I'm just trying to inject some levity here. Your comedian guest should not have to say that. But Timcast IRL may or may not be ending, so you guys might have to find other ways to bore yourself while it's on.
Yeah,
or while it would have been on.
Not care.
I saw the title of it. It said, "This may be the last Timcast IRL," and to be honest with you, Jack, I don't care if it is or not. I don't watch this shit. I don't
give a shit. No, this is just drama farming.
It really did come off like that. The jackass who sent that to me and I were talking, and I told him I really got the impression that Tim was just wanting people to go, no, Timmy, you're so important to our lives. Please don't cancel your show. If you were really leaving, just say, hey, this is the last one. If you're not leaving, shut the fuck up about it. And don't bash your fucking employees. I don't care if you were using names or not, but why the fuck are you airing that shit out on stream? Yeah. That's none of my business.
That is really unprofessional. That's a behind the scenes shit. If your people aren't working for you, you need to send out a memo and then start giving people chances to get their shit together or get out.
Lion says drop names, Monkey. Who was it? No, he doesn't actually name names. He's very vague about. I'm not. He even says at one point, I'm not going to name names, but some people are just not carrying their weight. Now that last part I paraphrased in, but he actually does say the I'm not going to name names part, talking about people who work for him.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
That is incredibly unprofessional. It must be a real sloppy organization they got going on over there.
Well, apparently he wanted to go live with the McDonald's stuff with Trump, which, look, if you're a political commentator and you didn't have a way to capitalize on that, I get it. You were Matt Christensen yesterday talking about his show ending. He's like, I really don't want to end this before the election. If you do political stuff, there are certain things that you want to capitalize on.
Well, yeah, of course, because it's big events for you.
Yeah, it's politics. It's not like movie releases where people are happy to hear from. We ruin people's day with the shit we talk about.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
No,
so when we do have big events, you want to be able to be there to cover it. And I get it. Apparently his stuff wasn't working because somebody he hired to set it up for him wasn't there, and he doesn't know exactly how it works. And he needs to know all of that. No, you're the boss. You don't need to know all that. You need to have people in place who do.
Yeah, you need to have redundancies or somebody on call that you could call and say, hey, shit's going wrong here. I need you in here now to fix this.
And even then, there's going to be times where redundancies fail.
Of course. There's always time for that. But you want to have as much safeguards in place as possible and have reliable people on staff and have reliable contacts. Like if you have to hire an outside contractor, you want to make sure that they're good. Check Angie's List.
Dude, I've literally not been able to do the show because both of my internets have been out at the same time. Shit happens sometimes. This would be something to bitch about. This sucks that happened. But instead, he's like basically calling out the guy who set it up instead of just going, shit happens. Sometimes we weren't able to get to that one. Apparently, Timmy hasn't made enough money this year. That one extra show would have been the thing that put him over the I don't need to whine like a bitch edge.
Yeah. And
anyhow,
if the dude's not doing his job, fire him.
Yeah. Don't bring it public, though. It doesn't need to be public.
No, most people don't know who his employees are anyway. They know who a couple of the on-air people are.
That's the other thing. You do not need a producer who pops the camera around. You have a small little studio, 4 to 5 people max on your show. Use a rounded table and a single fucking camera. You'll be fine. You're not the network news. You're overspending, dumbass.
He's trying to look like a fancy production, but it's largely a waste of money. I mean, you really want to save time and money. Just get a 360 camera, and then people can look at whoever they want.
I don't even know the people on his show. Every time I tune over there, all I can see is, that must stink in there.
That place looks very smelly.
Why do they all have that same scruffy, I'm trying to grow my first beard?
Because they're a bunch of skaters. They haven't left edgy boy status since they were 13.
They're in their 30s.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Christ.
They all want to be Tony Hawk, who built an entire career. It still looks like he showers.
They spend like a good 10, 15 minutes talking about skateboarding and how Tim is a great skateboarder and snowboarder, and he can even do a double black diamond on fresh powder. I'm like, you're 30. Why are you bragging about this?
That's embarrassing. It's like talking about your marijuana habits when you're in your mid-30s. Like, you're just sad. Stop it.
Yeah, you're not Sean White. You're Tim Pool.
Oh, but he's also in a band. Did you know that? Did you know he skateboards?
I've seen his music. It doesn't slap. What's the opposite of slapping?
I don't know, but music is a very generous term for that.
It doesn't slap, it whiffs.
It whiffs.
Anyhow. So we aren't going to talk anymore about Tim Pool because fuck that guy. He's stupid. And it was just so sad to see. I'm so tired of seeing millionaire fucking influencers whining about how hard their fucking lives are. Get fucked.
Yeah, go get a job in construction, asshole. All right? Nobody wants to hear about how tough your life is. It's not that tough. Shut up.
If you just have to bitch about that, do it to your friends offline. Nobody wants to sit there after they just got off of their fucking shift at Walmart and hear how bad it is that it took 3 months to get your giant projection screen on the fucking wall.
Which takes like seriously what, like a couple hours to put in if they're really the complicated ones. Like you could you could seriously have Geek Squad put those in now.
The guy who did it for him, he had it up in 3 days once we got the stuff.
Yeah, Geek Squad does that in a couple hours because I know a guy.
Thank you, Sin Nikki. Cost of business. Elon got it right. Take PTO. If you get called up on PTO and have to respond, you have a hard to replace position.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do have to run your company that lean. It's just the way it is. But the problem that I see with a lot of these YouTubers and influencers in general, because sometimes it's Twitch people too, Jack.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Hassan, but he's still just doing it with a single camera, and he might maybe pay somebody to cut it up into clips for him.
Yeah, and he ain't paying him much. I mean,
he's being more greedy than the capitalist guys who are out there like, I'm the new CNN. Look at this wonderful studio I had built. Nothing's going to change except for the background setting.
Yeah, like if we ever got really big, I think the closest I'd get to a studio is the garage. Because then I write it off of my taxes.
I might soundproof this room so the audio was better. That's about it.
Yeah, what a waste of money. Like, I get it, you want to look really professional, but that's really the wrong way to go about this. You're just bleeding money.
Now, before we get to the more depressing part of tonight's show, as we watch Kamala Harris for way too long, I do want to bring up, I saw Ben Shapiro, speaking of people who know how to run a business. Hey, Timmy, hire a Jew. You'll be much better off. I saw him. He gave a speech at UCLA tonight, which he's an alumnus of.
Yes.
And I didn't get to see the whole speech. By the time I saw it, he was already into the question and answer. And there's a great part. This little skinny white kid with the side of his head shaved, but for some reason his hair is long, gets up there to ask Ben about how he can condone the violence that the Jews are perpetrating. And he cuts and he goes, no, I don't just condone it. I celebrate it. I was like, fuck.
So I saw the speech, but only like the first 2 questions.
Snub, thank you. Soundproof won't stop the cricket bombing. No, but it'll help with the echo that we get.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Asshole the cricket. He's part of the show too. We'll just soundproof him in.
Yeah, he'll just be easier to hear now.
The part that I actually wanted to bring up about Ben, though, is this lady gets up there, and God bless her, man. She's like, you inspired me and my husband to start a podcast. And she gives the name. I forget. I don't even care. And she's like, can I give you my business card so you can find out about the stuff we do?
Oh, that's balls.
Right?
Nice. I respect that.
Me too.
Respect the effort.
I respect the hustle, man. Somebody said that about Tim earlier. You should respect the hustle. And with Timmy, the one thing I could give him before was the hustle. But after today, I can't even give him that. He's a whiny little bitch. But she asked, Ben, not Tim, Ben Shapiro, what would your advice be to people like me who are getting into this kind of thing? And his answer is, you need to spend 80% of your budget on marketing. And I'm like, well, that explains a lot for us.
Marketing? Huh.
And while that might be true, if you're going to get into this and specifically getting into the political side of doing content creation, I have a new first answer for people when they're like, I want to do what you do. What should I do first? Learn. The first thing you need to do is actually go out there and educate yourself about the subjects you want to talk about. Because way too many people, even people that agree with me, Jack, don't know what the fuck they're talking about because they just go out and read headlines instead of reading stories.
The Hunter Avalon approach.
Yes. Most of the Monkey of the Morning budget spent on Diet Coke. That's a goddamn lie. It's Diet Sam's Choice.
We don't have a budget.
It used to be Diet Pepsi, and then the Bidens came in, and that shit's like $2 more expensive now. So I switched to the generic.
Yeah. Oh man,
I'm
really getting overpriced.
I'm getting generic cancer, Jack.
Yeah.
I'm doing it the right way. Although it does taste more like Diet Pepsi than Diet Coke. I do like Diet Coke, but only from McDonald's. All right. We got to talk about Kamala's problem with Christians, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't talk about it, but this clip was going around the other day. It's come up in messages in chat. People have asked us if we've seen it and stuff, but we didn't really talk about it. Kamala's at this event, and we'll just play this. I'm purposefully not going to pause it or anything to explain what she's reacting to, because I think it's important, because although it's no longer on her timeline, I swear she put out this clip. And maybe it was one of her surrogate sites that did it.
Yeah, I think War Room put it out. The Kamala War Room.
That might be it. There's two different sides to this, and the Kamala side of it, when it first happened, because this is right after her dreadful interview on Fox.
Yeah. This
is the next day. And I am going to pause it, but only after she gets to the part we care about, just for the record there, Lion. He's going to pause it. Of course I'm going to pause it. But
yeah.
This is right after it, and this was supposed to be a girl boss moment. Her asserting herself.
With the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Pay attention to that smile on her face.
No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Oh, look at that. She owned the hecklers and Donald Trump there. Ha ha. She girl boss. She's so brat. The problem is in the part that the Harris campaign really doesn't want to talk about, and that they've, let's say, silenced in the media, Jack, is that was a response to somebody yelling, "Jesus is Lord." And her response was, "I think you're at the wrong rally."
Yeah, this is a Moloch rally.
I can't believe that's the reaction she had to that statement.
Yeah, there's a lot of contempt for religious people in politics, especially on the left. They think you are a throwback.
Well, she goes to try to make this better to a church, Jack. She goes to a church, and there's some people who start to express their displeasure with her, and they are removed by the police.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good look.
Right?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this clip. I didn't hear about that.
But yeah.
Jesus.
Here. Let me. I
don't
kind of
have a metaphor for how they want to treat religious people, isn't it? Like in the UK, you can go to jail for thinking about praying.
I don't have video of it. There is a very, very short video, but then a guy comes on, and I'm not interested in him at all. But what you see right here is a member of this church right there. Is my cursor showing today? Yeah, there we go. Right here. And right behind her is the police officer removing her from her church.
Wow.
This is how they respond to, why is she anti-Christian? Arrest the Christians who don't agree with me.
Yeah, what are you, a Roman general?
No
Jesus.
shit. How very Jewish of you. Jesus, I'm sorry, they did have the Romans do it for them, but still.
I don't like
I
to be
just-
questioned. Remove the peasant. Then their superstitious ways.
Look, you're at a church, maybe shouting up at the pulpit isn't the right thing to do, but when you bring in a politician instead of a pastor or, somebody preaching the gospel, maybe all bets are off. Maybe you don't bring whores into the house of God. I'm just saying. I'm nobody's judge. I can throw stones because I'm not a whore. But how do you let this happen if you're Kamala's campaign? As soon as I saw this, I'm like, seriously, who the fuck is running this thing?
Yeah, this is super out of touch, having people arrested like that. You want to escort them out, but having them arrested in the hall like that? No. Do you know to arrest religious people in the sanctuary of a church? Jesus Christ, what is this, COVID lockdown?
Well, Donald Trump is out there. Real quick. Thank you, Moloch. We don't want Kamala bitch cackles too much. Perhaps the Beelzebub aficionados will take her. Maybe. There's a lot of deities that might have a chance there, but demons.
Yeah, I'm sure Ball's up for it, but still.
Who knows what Mephisto's up to these days? Donald Trump just has this major PR victory with McDonald's. And your next thing is arresting people at church for questioning you.
Wow, that's just embarrassing. Evil One just said it. It's like her own October surprise.
It really is. I do not understand. They should have known that this was a possibility going to a church.
They shouldn't have mocked the religious people to begin with. It's always a bad move.
Days after you told somebody yelling, Jesus is Lord, was in the wrong fucking place. How did you let this happen?
This is how out of touch they are. They really hate Christians. They really, really do.
Oh, I know. They like Christians just as long as they vote for them. And that's it. That's all the love. It's kind of like black people. It's all the love they have for them. All we love is your vote. Oh God. I just can't believe that this is a major party political candidate in 2024 and they're messing up this badly. This often. Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
Thank you, Ball. She's not ours. We aren't claiming that. Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Keldrick, thank you. Kamala is not shaking that communist accusation with this one. Commies are notoriously atheistic and anti-Christian. I would argue they're also anti-theist. Yeah, very, very famously, they are against religion. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight that before we jump into Cackles and Cankles. Oh, I totally should have named the show that.
You can still change it.
I can. Cackles and Cankles, but then I'd have to change the thumbnail. Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris sat down today for a totally unscripted girl chat with some washed up menopausal empty gumball machine. I don't know who she is. And we're going to watch some of this. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Can we take down that T posing guy? Real downer. Yeah.
He makes people sad.
That doesn't look joyful.
You know, if you do change the title, you have to change the thumbnail to the D&D box cover and have the red dragon with Kamala's head and Tim Pool's the little warrior guy.
I would just put those two on there and name it Cackles and Cankles. Cult of Krill, thank you so very much. I'm beginning to think Jill is pulling the strings and trying to sabotage Kamala out of spite. At this point, I cannot think of there's literally only two possibilities: sabotage or incompetence at a level nobody's ever seen. Not at
Yeah,
this not at this level of politics.
you're talking like subatomic level of sabotage. Somebody hates her so much, it's literally in the core of their being. Not just
Yes.
like deep down hatred, but on the atomic level or the subatomic level, like molecules that hate this woman. And it wouldn't surprise me if Joe and Jill have contacts within her campaign because they took a lot of her staff.
Yeah.
That's where her staff came from, is from the Joe Biden campaign. So it wouldn't surprise me if there are people in there that are like purposely like, oh, you should go arrest them.
I feel like you should have known that there was a chance of hecklers and been ready for it.
Yeah. You have to learn to play that shit off and not disrespect an entire religion.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
dumb.
you can't.
You're trying to get elected. You can't alienate the largest religious group in the country, no matter how much you're trying to make the Muslims the top 1%.
Oddly enough, I did not see a single liberal whining that she went to a church. Not one was out there telling, I can't believe she's using religion this way. Separation of church and state.
Yeah, well, they're
They were too
okay
busy.
with it because you're converting people away from the church.
They were too busy trying to convince people that Donald Trump didn't actually get a job at McDonald's.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I'm so tired of seeing that. Like, grow up, you babies.
Like we all thought he gave up his political ambitions to go make fries. The fuck is wrong with you people?
I'm going to be the president of McDonald's. This McDonald's, I'm going to be the best fry machine president ever. And then I'm going to fix all of the ice cream machines on day one. Day one, 8 a.m. Laser beams and fixed ice cream machines. Ugh.
All right, let's get into the stupid here because, God, I don't know if we're going to watch this whole thing. And for the record, I've seen very little of this. The one part that I did see, somebody said, what is she even saying here? And
That's
if we make it, if we make it to that part, we'll get to it. But yeah, this is, she's a major party candidate, guys. And we got to watch because she's so dumb.
Belated birthday. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Audience members showing me up. That stuff. Okay, so I've got to start with the thing that brings us here today, because I've got to say it is unusual for somebody who is as high up in the Republican leadership as Liz Cheney was to be out here campaigning with the Democratic nominee for president. And so maybe why don't both of you tell us, but you start. You've actually marshaled unprecedented support from Republicans in this.
Okay.
Are they Republicans?
Yeah, Republicans in name only.
Yeah. Once you say I'm voting for Kamala because I agree with her on these issues of being a communist shitbag, I don't think you can call yourself a Republican anymore.
Yeah, well, also a warmonger.
I identify as a Republican.
Yeah, for the purposes of election. I do like that framed in this shot is the phrase country over. The avatar's kind of covering it up in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
But it says country over party is what the slogan is, but it just says country over and it's highlighted in red.
Yep.
But also,
this has become a talking point of hers in the last like 2 weeks.
That's still not working.
It's mostly meant to highlight things like this, Liz Cheney backing her, because supposedly Liz is putting the country over her party by, supporting a communist.
Yeah, well, a commie's gonna commie.
What it does not specify which country, Jack.
Yeah, well, the USSR, I assume. It is in red over there. But yeah, it's that kind of like, I am the great uniter. They always say this, and then they never unite. Barack Obama said that, and he infamously made racial demographics drift apart further than they've been in 20 years.
Liz
But-
Cheney's called Kamala a threat to the country. Glad she's so principled. You know what? I don't hold that part against her because there's a lot of politicians who, I hold it against all politicians, is what I should say it. Because so many of them, Lindsey Graham was talking mad shit about JD Vance before Trump picks him. Immediately upon picking him, suddenly, my good friend, my very, very good friend, JD Vance was the right pick here.
Can we please bomb Iran now?
Right?
Well, and another thing that kind of bugs me about this whole thing, so I'm slightly shifting away here.
You're fine.
Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney are some of the biggest warmongers on the fucking planet that were despised for ages, especially Dick Cheney when he was vice president. And now they're celebrating them, and they're upset. First of all, they're trying to claim that Liz Cheney's bringing all these people. How many people is RFK bringing to Trump?
Oh, yeah, tons more, because nobody's following Liz fucking Cheney.
No, and everybody hated her dad. How can you be over 50 and believe that this woman is going to in any way not cause a war?
She was a congresswoman from one of the states that the people in California point to and go, how come they get as much say as we do? Because it's so tiny and barely worth mentioning. Sorry, Wyoming.
You're beautiful, Wyoming. Just nobody lives there.
She's a fucking congressman from Wyoming. Who gives a shit what she thinks?
Yeah, and on top of that, she's a warmonger and a liar.
Not even a senator, Jack. She's from a place inside the small place.
But she was on the J6 committee going after Orange Man because he's bad.
Orange Man, bad.
Yeah. Thank you, Keldrick. Sometimes Democrats gift us with accidental honesty, and it's always funny. Country over, indeed.
Indeed.
Yeah, just the framing of that. The optics, my first thought was like They Live, where he puts on the glasses and he's like, looks at the money. This is your God.
I now feel like I should cut that out and tweet it out.
Yes, I agree.
Hang on, we gotta cut that out real fast. Oh no, I need a better picture than that.
I'm not wrong, right? You guys see this.
No, and that's why I want to highlight. I'm stealing your idea and I'm going to get Twitter fame for it.
I don't care.
Make sure I get
it
framed.
Dick Darth Cheney. Yeah, exactly. Hate Camel. Now they're siding with Darth Vader.
Kamala. Hang on a second. I got to learn how to spell properly. Being accidentally honest. There we go. I need a new computer desk so that my keyboard sits right in front of me instead of slightly off to the side. Anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get back to cackles and cankles here, Jack.
This election. Why do you think that is?
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here and for your work, and the Congresswoman. Thank you. I have said before, and it must be repeated each time.
This is as loud as it goes, so I apologize. It does. Somebody must whisper to him, "Hey, nobody can hear the bitch," and so it does get louder a little bit later. But for now, it is what it is. This is the best recording I can find of it, Jack. The one from Fox News sounds like it was recorded in a fucking tin can.
I'm not surprised, but I'd be interested in knowing the live reaction. You know how they used to do that on Fox, have the live viewer reactions?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they fix her mic, the people start leaving.
Yes. All you missed, if you couldn't hear and you're adjusting your sound right now, is her going, thank you, Lisa, for what you've done, and thank you, Congresswoman. And she waited for a clap there. Did you catch that? And nobody clapped.
Because nobody likes Liz fucking Cheney. She's a psycho.
Speaking of nobody likes, apparently Nikki Haley's going out on the campaign trail for Donald Trump because her husband must have come home or something.
Oh.
And so she's got to get out of there. She's got to get out on the road.
She's got to air that thing out from the scent of other dudes.
Well, she's got to go get other dudes, and she can't do that at home. He's there.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
There are moments in the history of our country which challenge us, each of us, to really decide, do we stand for those things that we talk about, including.
I'm sorry.
What?
There are moments in history where we have to really ask ourselves, do we stand for the things we talk about? This is Kamala Harris sitting next to Liz Cheney, who has literally called her a threat to threat to our nation. Is that really the thing you want to bring up right now? Is that really how you want to settle or sell this nonsense? Yeah, she's just decided she didn't believe the things she says.
We're being unburdened by what has been.
Is there a more blatant example of the Uniparty than this? Eldrick Scott, no. I mean, this is right up there.
Yeah, this is definitely in the top 5 examples.
Particular country over party. And you have been extraordinarily courageous in the way that you have done that. And I thank you for that.
I don't get this whole, you've been extraordinarily courageous. You know, Trump's the one who got shot at, right?
Yeah, but this is courageous because she stood up to the orange man who's like the devil, but sometimes not. And she tried to get to the bottom of the insurrection.
The worst that's happened to her is she got primaried and called a bitch.
Oh, it's awful.
So, I have in my career now, whether it was as the elected district attorney, elected attorney general, and then elected United States senator, and of course now vice president, I've counted the.
Did this bitch just give us her resume and forget to put McDonald's on there?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, she also left out Fluffer, so.
I love that she had to mention that each one was elected, which in fairness, not all of those positions are everywhere. There are still a few places where some of those are appointees. But she just can't help but do this little brag. You could just say, with my work history, when I was the elected DA and the elected AG, and of course elected to the Senate, and of course now VP.
Look how successful I am. I'm so awesome.
This is why nobody likes women PhDs, because they always have to tell you they have one.
Yeah, there's an arrogance level there that's really frustrating to listen to.
Did I mention I have a PhD? Yes.
Have I mentioned how amazing I am? And I'm quite good looking.
Ugh. Fuck.
That I have taken the oath of office 6 times. And for the elected leaders here, we know it is an oath that one must take sincerely. And
it's not the same oath for all of those positions.
No, it's really not.
Unequivocally, which is an oath, among other things, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
I don't think you've ever read any part of the Constitution, lady.
No. I don't think she's ever read. You could stop right there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even the fucking teleprompters and pictographs for
her. Somebody had to draw pictures, little stick figures of what the Constitution is.
What those principles represent and what they require of the individual who holds the office in the public trust. And let's not undervalue that point as well. It is not about the individual. It is not.
I'm pretty sure the Constitution is about the individual, so we don't have this collectivist nonsense.
Also, part of the Constitution, literally in the Constitution, it's in the amendments, it's number 25. You're supposed to be removing Joe Biden right now because he can't do his fucking job.
Nah, just let it ride.
It's a position we hold in the public trust. I'm not going to do it, but we say we believe in it. God damn, I hate this woman.
I know.
It's not about what is in their personal interest. It is about what is for and in the spirit of the public good. And this is a moment.
The country good, which would mean the public good, but you can, frankly, Jack, if you gave everybody in America $1,000 in the short term, that's good for them because they just got $1,000. It's the long term that actually matters there. You can't just throw out shit like public good, which is really communistic sounding, honey.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff her father, the economics Marxist, would say.
Right. She's just so full of verbal diarrhea. Her answer's already over, but she's got to keep going on. And I'm sure she'll tell us how she grew up middle class. Willie Brown, thank you so very much. What? You're not going to mention how many times you've taken me? I'm half your resume. Sir, you are not half her resume. You are like probably 7/8 of it.
7 inches of it.
Dangerous, thank you. Liz Cheney lost her primary vote by 40 points. Seems like a good person to be or to help a candidate try to win. The Republicans that the Dems have recruited show they don't understand Republican voters. There's an old saying, politics makes strange bedfellows. And they're taking that to the extreme this time. These are people that they have spent, in some cases, decades. I actually saw somebody today say, I actually kind of like George Bush. Like, you lying whore.
Yeah.
You lying whore. And they were bragging that even Dick Cheney agrees with me. The guy you said was literally Satan.
Yeah. The one that because George Bush was so stupid, he had to be a puppet of Dick Cheney, and you're getting Satan's daughter on the what are you idiots doing?
There was a time I expect them at any moment to come out and go, Vladimir Putin endorsed me.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
He did. Absolutely, he did. Anyhow,
Moment in this election that presents a real contrast among how I, as one of the two nominees, and my opponent, the former president, think of that duty. And it is a duty, by the way.
Is anybody else getting major? There's this small country, and then there's this big country vibes going on here.
Yeah, this condescension, like she has to over-explain everything and then talk down to you at the same time.
I
and
don't
usually
think
do it wrong.
I don't think it's condescension. I know what you're talking about, but I think she's really just this dumb, and this is how shit's explained to her.
Yeah, well, last night after the show when we were talking, you compared her to Mac. Oh, It's Always Sunny. I think you were 100% right. She has that, like, she thinks everybody else is stupid too, so she has to over-explain it because that's how it has to be done to her.
Yeah, and when he says Mac, he's talking about Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's several great episodes, but especially the second Lethal Weapon one, where he keeps saying, we have to explain everything in detail or people are looking to get lost. Like, nobody's getting lost. But that's how she just, I think there's a comparison. And with me being one of the two people in this election.
5.
And like, Jesus, we know how fucking elections work, lady. But I really do think that she is so dumb that this is how things are explained to her, and she's just repeating it the way it's been said to her. Like, they're mocking you when they talk to you that way. Oh, dear God, we got our spam bot back over on Rumble. They need to clean that shit up.
Yeah. And if I get one more message about how I can help you make money on Rumble, no, you can't. Shut up.
If you could make money on Rumble, you wouldn't be trying to rob me.
Right?
Anyway.
By the way, there are certain things in our lives that we have the choice if we feel like it.
What?
You know what? This isn't even the part that I was talking about, but it's very similar to it. So I'm just going to say this part here. We've seen Kamala, when she gets in front of black audiences, go into a black stereotypical accent. We've seen her do it with Hispanic folks. I'm still waiting for her to do it with Jews because that'll be funny as shit. I think what's going on here is that she's in a room full of box wine moms, so she's going into box wine mom accent. The things that we get to decide if we want to do, right? All right, y'all know what I mean, right? Zinfandel, anyone? I hate this woman.
I know.
And her pantsuit is ugly. All ladies. I don't know who told you guys pantsuits look good, but they really don't.
No, nobody likes pantsuits on women, except lesbians.
They're ugly because your bodies aren't made for them. For that style of clothing, your body is just not made for it. They're made for men.
Yeah, suits are made for men because they highlight, especially the shoulders, and it makes women look fugly and weird.
Yeah. The only time women look good in men's clothes is if they're wearing some kind of shirt that is traditional for men, specifically the white dress shirt. Oh, dude. And panties only. Although if you see them in the right sports jersey, they can look pretty hot too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, women can make lots of things look hot.
But not men's suits or lumberjack shirts.
No, it's kind of weird. It's a little too
Anyway,
masculine.
Hi, Nuts. How you doing, sweetie?
Hey, Stargazer.
You came in right as I was shitting on ugly clothing.
Box wine is her native language.
It is.
And then there are certain things that are just fundamentally a duty, like to raise our children,
Like swallowing.
things of that nature.
Wait, did she just say raise our children? Isn't she the abortion queen?
She does love the dead babies.
Our fundamental responsibility of raising the kids we don't kill. Sure. All right.
Sure. It is a duty to take seriously that oath and do it for the sake of the public good and in the public trust. And
Part of your oath is to defend the country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. How's my southern border doing, lady?
Oh, we don't talk about that, monkey.
We have a duty. And that oath, we have a duty. I'm just going to keep saying duty because I think it's funny. You can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and have been saying that the border was secure for 3 fucking years, then decide it's absolutely not secure, which is part of your fucking job. You're the executive branch, and then have the nerve to say you have to take this oath seriously. It's a duty. Do you not know what duty means? Do you think you're DODDIE or however you spell that kind of duty?
Yeah, I think she thinks it's a poopy. Look, I don't think she understands what the word duty means to begin with. She's just saying things.
The balls on this vaginal neck woman.
Yeah.
and
Well, I mean, she did tell us in the Brett Baer interview that you have to take responsibility for what your administration does while literally taking none for 27 minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
I think that this moment, with the choice that the American people have in this election, and
Can we just take a look at the audience they brought in, this friendly audience for Kamala? And I know some of you can't see it because that won't help anyway because it's my it's the watermark. It's a bunch of old freaky looking white people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with old freaky looking white people, but how come that doesn't get brought up that her events are all old freaky looking white people?
That's a good question.
All right. She's the candidate for a new generation 30 years ago.
Yeah, new generation of boomers.
Fuck.
How many young
One
people do
day.
you ever see at these events?
Well, hardly ever any. Yeah. It's always old, rich white folks. You know why? Because they require ID and black people can't figure out how to get those. Democrats told me so.
Well, and most of the celebrities she's been bringing out have been kind of has-beens.
She brought out Usher the other day. Usher's wrapped up in the P. Diddy shit.
Yeah, and when is the last time Usher did anything anyway?
He was out there.
Is he like a producer?
I don't know if he's still even that active in the business. I don't know how much he's doing these days. He's certainly not putting out much music these days.
Yeah, I haven't heard his name in ages. And she had Little John. Like, that dude's still relevant?
Dude, she brought out Molly Shannon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is all like 30 years out of date.
She is living her 90s dream right now. Instead of taking anything serious. If you're going to reach out to the young kids, at least go out there and get, I guess I should give her a little bit of credit for Lizzo, but you just happened to show up where she was eating that day.
Yeah, and I'd argue even Lizzo's not what she was 3-4 years ago.
No, she's dropped off a lot. But
no,
she's totally down with the kids. She's brat, yo.
Yeah. Maybe if she had like, I don't know, did she have Megan Thee Stallion on? That's somebody that's a little bit more in the news.
Megan was at her first really big event that she did, because that was how they got people there. All right.
Yeah, it's just impressive how she has to have celebrities to bring out young people because everybody else looks like they're past their prime. I mean, half these people look like they have walkers in the back.
And don't forget that they have to send out invitations for tickets.
Yeah, they put
nobody's asking for them.
Yeah, nobody wants to go to this shit. And when she said, "Oh, that's the smaller rally," no, it's not. Shut up.
Right,
I see young people all the time talking about Trump.
The gap in enthusiasm is even worse than it was when Biden ran. And I judge that based on not just the fact that nobody is talking about how excited they are for Kamala, but how many people that you would never expect have been coming out for Trump, like the Steelworkers Union.
Yes, a couple of unions have come out for him, even some celebrities like Zachary Levi, who is a fairly large name for Republicans. Otherwise, they got like John Voight.
Look, I like Kid Rock, and he was there at the convention and everything, but I would never point to him and go, "Look, the kids think Trump's cool. Kid Rock is there."
Yeah, because Kid Rock is, past his career,
like almost
prime.
50. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't made a comeback in a long time. Like, if there are a lot of other celebrities that would be better, but they don't have that many on the Republican side that are willing to speak out. And that's why it kind of surprised me with Zachary Levi. Like, that guy's actually been in recent stuff.
There were Steelers who have come out, a football team, who came out proudly supporting Trump.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw one white lady call one of the Steelers a self-hating black man because he was wearing a Trump 2024 shirt.
Naturally.
Like, oh yeah, white lady's telling the black guy what to think again.
Yeah, imagine that. So, ma'am, where's your plantation at?
Right, it's in Jamaica.
Yeah, yeah. There's been a lot of sports people, especially, coming out for Trump. But
oh yeah,
and when they do the man on the street stuff, a lot of people talking about Trump, even if they don't like him personally, they're like, yeah, things were better under him.
Yeah, I'm not saying Trump is going to win the black male vote, but I think he's going to surprise people this time.
Yeah, I do too. Especially because black men are the ones most affected by these illegal immigrants.
Yeah, and you're seeing when you're talking about influence over different demographics, young men, white, black, Asian, if you want to get their attention, it's not with shitty pop stars who talk about how loose their vagina is. It's sports figures.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that have been coming out going, yeah, I kind of like this Trump guy. So, well, yeah, we'll see what happens. Did you see the chick who ran out on the field in the Steelers game?
I don't think so.
She runs out on the field and her boobies are all but falling out, and she's carrying a pro-Trump sign. It was funny. And when Trump first gets there, the stadium breaks into USA chants.
I did see a Steelers game put up the quiet please when people started chanting USA.
In Pittsburgh.
That's ballsy, man. Pittsburgh people will burn their own stadium down.
No, they might burn their town down, but their football stadium used to be Three Rivers. What's their stadium called now? Heinz Field. That is a religious monument to them.
Oh, well, maybe they'll just riot a little bit.
There are a few places around the league, Lambeau, maybe Texas Stadium. What's Texas Stadium now? Where do the Cowboys play now? I forget the thing, but Heinz Field. These are religious meccas for their fans, and they were chanting for Trump in their mecca, dude.
That's actually really impressive to me.
Yes,
that tells me Pennsylvania, you got a good shot.
I think he has a good chance of winning Pennsylvania, even with Shapiro out there. Josh, not Ben, talking shit. Did you see that motherfucker the other day? Josh Shapiro he's the governor of Pennsylvania, guys. He goes on to MSNBC, I think it is, or maybe it was CNN. And the host asked him, Elon Musk is giving away money for signing a petition on his website. Is that legal? Yes, it's 100% legal. I promise you that Elon has lawyers good enough that they made sure that was legal before they did it.
Yeah, I saw something about that. People were saying, "Oh, it's absolutely illegal. You're paying for votes." No,
he's not.
He's paying to sign a petition. That's different.
Yeah, I signed the petition, Jack. I'm gonna take a chance to get $1 million. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll go sign too. Thank you, Circus Zero. Summarize if you want. Nah, I'm too lazy. We're already reading it. 2 illegal Jordanians were caught trying to sneak onto the Quantico Marine Base. Then they ran their van through the gate checkpoint, got arrested, released on $8,000 bond, and were given a quarter 3 months later, and then they disappeared. Yeah, I'm shocked.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Paying for votes.
Oh, yeah, the Josh Shapiro thing. Josh Shapiro then gives this really long, winding answer it's very concerning. The question was, is it illegal, dipshit? Wasn't that for Pennsylvania residents only? No, it's actually if you read it, it gives the impression that it's only in the swing states, which I am in Michigan and I count. I count this year, Jack, because they want to win Michigan.
I've been to Michigan. Does that count?
I don't know. I am not sure.
I mean, the suspension on my car is going to need fixed after going, but.
All right.
This election is presenting, for the first time probably in certainly recent history, a very clear choice and difference between the 2 nominees.
Well, in fairness, that's just because in 2020, they wouldn't tell us shit about Biden.
Yeah, he was in his basement.
Otherwise, we could have seen the very clear difference.
Hey, we called out his dementia during the campaign when nobody else was doing it.
Yeah, but most people didn't get to see the clips that we did because the news kept that shit hidden.
Yeah.
I don't blame most people for not knowing what a shitbag Joe Biden was, because if you don't follow politics the way we do, why would you?
Yeah, that's true.
My blame for 2020 falls solely on the press because they're the ones who hid all of that shit.
And I think that is what, as much as anything, is bringing us as Americans together, who are understanding that we cannot, with such fundamental stakes being presented, afford to be mired in ideological differences.
Notice what she just said there. I think this is what's bringing people together. Remember when she was asked at the Brett Baer interview, why do 50% of people support Trump? This is her telling you guys, if you aren't on her side, she doesn't actually consider you an American because you don't support her. But she's talking about, It's bringing all the Americans together. I don't support her, Jack, so you and I don't count.
Yeah, I mean, won't be the first time we didn't count.
Dick Cheney will shoot your face off.
Right in the face.
Without really staking our claim to the most fundamental ideals upon which our country stands.
Thank you. And
That was a very long, winding answer to say nothing of substance.
She's good at those.
Jesus Christ.
Congresswoman Cheney.
Which is worse, Jack? Sincerely, would you rather listen to Joe Biden slur his way through stuff or her bullshit her way through words she doesn't even understand?
Joe's funnier, dude. This is just painful.
I have to agree. And this came up on Twitter today. The Hill had an opinion piece that asked, was Joe Biden the better candidate all along? No, he wasn't. And we're not suggesting that Joe gave good answers, but you're right. It was funnier. It was easier to get through. Hers is just sometimes by the end of her answer, I don't even remember what the question was. And I'm not talking about when we watch it here and I interrupt it constantly. I'm talking about when I'm watching on my own and she gives an answer. I'm like, wait, I got to go back and try to figure out what the fuck she was even saying. With Biden, we had to figure out what he was saying because it came out.
Yeah, but with her, you need a damn decoder ring.
Yeah, she's using full words.
Yeah, she enunciates them well, but they're not words that mean anything. It's just a bunch of gibberish. Like, you put the words together and they do not form a sentence. I'm telling you, alien translator.
It's so bad.
Cheney. It's sort of the same question to you, but I gotta ask. It's one thing for Republicans.
Didn't she say that the first question was for both of them, and then Kamala took it all, and now this lady has a new question for? Maybe I shouldn't pay that much attention.
I don't think you should pay attention to this at all.
I should pay as much attention to the questions as Kamala does.
Yeah, and then just say whatever the fuck you want, because why not?
Mr. Jack, I just signed the Elon petition. There you go. Get that bag, man.
Nice. Well,
by the way,
what do you guys win? Spread the wealth, huh?
I was about to say, if anybody signs up for that thing and you win because you heard us mention it, just remember us on the day you get the payout. That's all.
Yeah. I need a new computer. Like, badly. The letter O and W have sorta halfway stopped working on my computer.
Oh, damn, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I gotta take the thing apart and see if I can clean it because it's pissing me off.
Republicans to sign a letter. We've seen that Vice President Harris has been endorsed by 200 Republicans in the national security space, all kinds of people from
the 200 Republicans in the national security space, 50 of some who said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation campaign.
Yeah, that's not a group of people I'm going to trust very well. So I don't think that's the win you think it is.
But they love saying it.
Yeah, well, they're big on the national security state because it's a bunch of authoritarian dicks.
By the way, if you heard that squeak, that was me sliding in my chair. I didn't fart. If I farted, I would have said, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. We're not those people that hide the fact that we have bodily functions.
I would mute because I don't want it on the stream, but I would be, polite enough to go, my bad, y'all.
I farted.
Some people are way too happy to fart and burp on stream.
Yeah, it's gross. Don't do that.
Like, what are you, 12?
Yeah.
George W. Bush's administration, there's been a lot of people, they'll sign letters and maybe they'll go on TV, they'll release a statement. I was just with Republican Congressman Charlie Dent, former Republican congressman here from the state. He voted for you in his early voting. But you are out here campaigning. You are out here holding events. So talk about why it's been so important to you to be as involved as you are.
Donald Trump embarrassed me
repeatedly
in getting Vice President Harris elected.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for the question. And it's an honor to be here today with you, Madam Vice President.
Why don't you talk about how you used to talk about her? No? All right. Can I just point out that when Kamala thanked, she pulled that same basic line, but with Cheney, nobody clapped. Cheney says it, and they all in unison, yay!
I think at this point, people have sort of learned to tune out Kamala's voice.
I guess,
you know, because it's got that like nasally, whiny tone to it. So a lot of people just kind of zone out. They're like, "Oh, that lady's talking, yay!"
I think it just goes to prove that nobody is actually supporting Kamala. They are just really against Trump. And look, as a Democrat, you're probably going to be against Trump too. But since the question being asked here is, why are the Republicans supporting you? I feel like the answer is right there. There's a lot of Republicans who do not like Donald Trump, and they will tell you he said grab him by the puss, and he cheated on his wife. They don't care about any of that shit. Occasionally they'll go, he had an insurrection. It's none of that. It's that he came up in a way you're not supposed to. He disobeyed the rules. And I'm not talking about laws. I mean the rule of you have to start in local politics, and then you go to your state politics, and then you go to the national stage, and only if you've been selected by the party to do so. There's a reason, Jack, that you never see somebody who's like the mayor of bumfuck Nebraska running for president and has a good chance, because you got to go through the party.
Yeah, you have to meet the approval process and their criteria. They want to groom their candidates.
Yeah. I'm not saying we have no choice, but it is a predetermined choice.
Yeah.
For me, every single thing in my experience and in my background has played a part in my decision to endorse Vice President Harris. And
like when you called her a threat, this is not the way to do it, because all you're doing is lying to us. All you have to do is say, I think that she has a better vision than Trump does. That's the end of it. Everything in my existence has led me here. Like when I said she was a threat to the country. When I said that she had the border open and wouldn't do her job.
No, it was when she was like, Iran is a big threat. She's like, oh, we could go to war with Iran. Oh, and she got a clit boner.
With her, it's not even that. You'd be right in most cases. This is literally just, I hate Trump.
Yeah,
I hate Trump.
Liz Cheney really hates Trump.
Yep. There's a lot of them that I agree with you that, like Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney is supporting Kamala Harris because he's you're going to bomb not black people, but brown people? Awesome. I was doing that.
Yeah.
Here, let me give you a few suggestions.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Lindsey Graham hasn't supported Kamala for that very reason.
He wants to keep getting reelected, and he's not getting reelected if he doesn't support Trump.
Well, that's true.
Or whoever the Republican nominee is.
You know, that begins with the fact that I'm a conservative, and
I'm sorry, you're voting for Kamala because you're a conservative? I don't even know how to process that.
That does not compute.
That makes zero sense.
Well, I mean, this is Liz Cheney.
I know that the most conservative of all conservative principles is being faithful to the Constitution. And
Kamala is mad about Roe v. Wade, which as a conservative who loves the Constitution, you should know, has no business in the fucking Constitution. There's nothing in there about it.
It's bad law.
Never law. Just point that out.
You have to choose in this race between someone who has been faithful to the Constitution, who will be
Protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. All right.
faithful, and Donald Trump, who it's not just us predicting how he will act. We watched what he did after the last election. We watched what he did on January 6th.
He told people to be peaceful
And to go home.
at a planned protest. And then when they weren't, told them to go home. Yeah.
Weird.
We watched what he did. You guys saw the bullshit we put together with a Hollywood producer, right?
Yeah. Don't pay any attention to those George Floyd riots. So,
Right?
no. That Kamala endorsed the bail fund for.
And so coming to this as someone who's been a lifelong Republican, a lifelong conservative, also as someone who spent I spent time working overseas before I was.
Before we get let's say all of that shit's true. You're conservative, and then your only real answer, if you're that opposed to Trump, is to not vote or vote third party. Because you can't be all those things and love the Constitution and love America and be conservative and support Kamala Harris. You can't do it logically. It doesn't make any sense at all. I guess we'll pretend 2016 and not my president didn't happen. Of course, Maniac Man. The Democrats have never once suggested that there was anything ever wrong with an election ever.
That's just science and YouTube rules.
Yes.
Elected to Congress, and I've spent time working in countries where people aren't free and where people are struggling for their freedom, and I know how quickly democracies can unravel. I'm
sorry, did you invoke January 6th and then start talking about people who aren't free?
Yeah, and maybe she's about to tell us how sexually aroused she got by seeing people that weren't free and how that helped change her mind.
Maybe. Fuck. That didn't set off a single alarm bell in her head.
Nope.
Wow.
And I know that as Americans, we can become accustomed to thinking, well, we don't have to worry about that here. But I tell you, again, as someone who has seen firsthand how quickly it can happen, that is what's on the ballot. It's absolutely what's on the ballot.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with this. It's communism or Donald Trump.
Yeah, she's got this entirely wrong. Because even if you take the January 6th thing at face value that she's giving it there, did I miss the part where the January 6thers got their way?
Yes.
I also...
The lady sitting next to you picked as her running mate a guy who said free speech doesn't count if it's disinformation.
Socialism is just another word for neighborliness.
This is so fucking insane.
This is scary, actually.
It is.
To this decision as a mother.
No, you didn't.
I have
You came to this decision as a lady scorned.
Yeah, she's a bitter ex.
Yes. You're the classic woman scorned, and you are going to get back at the man who harmed you. I would have far more respect for you if you would just admit that.
I have children. And there was a moment right after January 6th when my husband and I were having dinner with our two youngest, our two sons. And I looked across the table at my young sons, and I thought to myself, you know, in the aftermath of the attack on the Capitol, are they going to grow up in a country where we don't have to worry about the peaceful transfer of power? Are they going to grow up in a country?
Just a reminder that the transfer of power was peaceful, and 2 weeks later. Again, I always feel like I've missed headlines when they talk. He interrupted the peaceful transfer of power. Transfer of power happens on January 20th, and it went off without a hitch. Were they even protests that day? I'm sure there were, but none that made the news.
No, we don't talk about that.
Will they even grow up in a country with a peaceful transfer of power? Because when Donald Trump left without having to be dragged out by the military, it really made me wonder. I hate these fucking people. I hate these fucking people. Why are you such a hyperbolic, emotional spaz?
Woman.
I was going to say something worse, but
where that is guaranteed. And I believe
it's never
that everyone.
You remember that peaceful transfer of power between King George and George Washington?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying that, there should be a revolution, Jack. I just love when they use these talking points without ever thinking about the overall world. We came to be from an extraordinarily unpeaceful transfer of power. And then 100 years later, we did the same thing to our own people. Okay. We have to have a place where there's never an opportunity. There's always going to be an opportunity because people. I mean, there's no other answer for it, but people. Husband, children, I thought she's gay. Didn't they say she get Liz Cheney? No, she just looks like a lesbian.
Yeah, she's got like 5 kids, I think she said.
Yeah. No, she's not gay. She just looks it.
One of us in this election has a duty and an obligation to do what we know is right for the country, and that's to support Vice President Harris. So I'm very honored to be here.
I do not have a duty to support this whore.
No.
This woman right here who got her entire career by sucking the dick of a married man is not anybody I want any of the females in my family to look up to. And that's just the beginning of my problems with her.
Right?
We have a duty to support this whore.
Do that.
You know, if I can just echo the Congresswoman's point. So I've now, as vice president, met over 150 world leaders. President.
I'm sorry. Did Liz Cheney? I know I keep saying I'm sorry. I try to stop saying that. I don't mean to sound so Canadian, but when I interrupt and I don't mean to, it's just habit. Did she just follow up Liz Cheney saying, I believe we have a duty to do what's right and support Kamala with saying, I'm going to agree with her?
I think so.
Christ, how is it I keep running into people more arrogant than I am? That shouldn't be possible, people.
But we're on the internet.
Oh, my God.
Prime ministers, chancellors, and kings, many of them multiple times, to the point we're on a first name basis.
And now she's going full Biden? I know all the world leaders.
What's just 150?
Basis. I don't fucking know. Maybe she was playing Risk, and that's how many pieces there are. I don't fucking know. Dangerous, thank you. Kamala wants to confiscate guns. Constitution be damned. On a debate stage, even Joe pointed that out. She had the people thrown out for their speech. Won't invoke the 25th when she should. I mean, what the fuck, Liz? Well, Dangerous. Those are all very conservative values.
Yeah.
And I mean, in fairness, there was a time where if you were looking for who was suppressing speech more, it absolutely would be the conservatives.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s. They're getting back there again, too. Some of y'all need to stop with we can't have that kind of speech. If it's violent, I'm with you. But otherwise, unless they're saying, hey, you need to go kill that guy for me, people should be able to have their opinions. And then you mock them for being retarded.
Yeah.
And the last few times I've seen them in the relative eve of this election, they are very concerned, our allies.
Yeah, they're not going to get blowjobs when the vice president comes to town anymore. I'd be worried too.
Because as you know, When we walk in those rooms around the world representing the United States of America,
Sorry, I just have to bring this up real fast. I saw a woman today, a conservative woman, really upset with Dave Rubin because Dave Rubin made a joke on Twitter and she said, "Do you think this is how you get women? You think this is how you get women on your side?" And here's what he said. "I heard Kamala is going to do Five Guys. There's no word on whether or not she's going to any restaurants."
That's actually pretty funny.
It's very funny. And it was so funny. I didn't even realize it was Dave Rubin who had said it because I like Dave, but he's not that funny. And I laughed out loud. But this woman was like a conservative woman who's supposedly on the side of, Trump and stuff, and can't take a little joke like that about a woman with a known whorish past. Are you going to push away the women? Only the ones I don't want around me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't need humorless bitches around me. I saw a short video today of Judge Joe Brown calling Kamala a hoe. I've seen that video, yes.
I love Judge Joe. That was my favorite of the judge shows, but he's also a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
So
we have traditionally been able to walk in those rooms, chin up, shoulders back.
And then immediately get on your knees? I saw Trump go into a lot of meetings and stuff, and I don't remember him slouched over looking all sad or anything. Last time I saw that shit that I can remember was Obama.
Yeah.
When he was like, "I'm so sorry for being American."
On his apology tour around the world.
Yeah. Traditionally, we could walk in there, head held high. Stop it.
With the self-appointed and earned authority.
Self-appointed and earned. How democratic is that? Is that not that should be the fucking slogan for the modern left. Self-appointed and earned. Who said you earned it? I did.
Yeah, because I appointed it to myself.
You know why we can do that? Because we have the biggest military. That's how we earned that right.
Yeah.
And again, Jack, I think we're mostly right in our more liberal policies of Western thinking. But there's a lot of countries who agree with us on stuff like this, and they can't walk in like that because they have armies as small as their wieners. That's right. I called y'all little dicks.
To talk about the importance of democracies and rule of law.
But then we started trying to lock up our political opponents, and now we can't do that.
Because we don't have moral authority, because we're a bunch of authoritarian communists.
How can you fucking sit here and say shit like this when you've it just today, Jack? Well, yesterday now. They had Nathan Wade up there at the Hill again.
Yeah.
Where he admitted that during the prep work for the prosecution of Donald Trump in Georgia, he was meeting with Biden officials. We knew this, but now they have him on record admitting it. And nobody's explained why that's okay.
Because it's Orange Man bad. That's why.
And these motherfuckers, you not believe how democracies around the world have failed. Not like here where we're just trying to jail people who disagree with us. By the way, did we tell you Donald Trump will jail people for disagreeing? Ain't you motherfuckers waiting for the New York case to come down and say he's got to go to jail?
Yeah.
I hate him. I hate him.
I think evil one's pocket hiding people.
And this is one where I cannot, like I said earlier, I give people who didn't know about Joe a pass. Nobody has a pass on this because this has been blasted far and wide. The press were proud of this shit.
Yeah.
Models here know, as a role model, people watch what you do.
Like sucking dick to get ahead?
Yeah. Mofo brings up something we have to talk about every time, too. Kamala withheld evidence and exonerated a man and held people past their release date.
She was just doing her constitutional duty to uphold the law
Yeah.
by breaking it. All right.
To see if it lines up with what you say. People around the world are watching this. And I tell you, sometimes I do fret a bit about whether we as Americans truly understand how important we are to the world.
This is why the world hates us.
Because we're so awesome.
Do you understand? Look, it's true. We really are. If America falls, the world will be okay eventually, because we're not the first. We're not the first major world power, and as each one falls, a new one takes its place. And right now, we are the big dog. That's not to say that another big dog wouldn't rise if we fell. I'm not rooting for us to fall, Jack.
No, of course not.
And I absolutely think that the rest of y'all should try to be way more like us. But
Yeah.
how do you go from trying to suggest that the world hates us because of Donald Trump into this arrogant American? I love being an arrogant American. I think I've made that pretty clear on the show.
It's because we're awesome.
But there's also the matter of diplomacy. And this is a woman who wants to be president going, we're better than you. You need me. You need me. Fuck.
Well, that's one of the things, though, is if the U.S. falls, freedom around the world is going to crumble way more than it already has.
Sure.
You're already seeing a lot of censorship in Australia and in the UK and throughout Europe, and that's supposedly the free world. But you're going to have a lot less freedoms if the U.S. falls, because we're the ones kind of keeping that stuff afloat, and everybody wants to be like us. But if we fall, you're going to have another dark age.
I think it would depend on how we fell. For all of its faults, the monarchy at the time of the founding of America is much more lenient than in, say, the Middle Ages.
Oh, true.
It tends to be that as each major power falls, the one that comes after it is a little more lenient, depending on, you get to a place where you're too lenient, and then there's kind of a walk back to a little more sanity, and then you have the next age of enlightenment. I'm not rooting for America to fall. I don't want us to. But the arrogance when you're talking, do you not understand that this is what people hate about us?
Yeah.
It's kind of famous that they hate us for being so arrogant.
They have a term for it, ugly American.
Yes.
I hope everyone does really understand that.
Can we have a Venn diagram?
We represent something, imperfect though we certainly are, flawed though we may be. We represent, in terms of our ideals, the basis of our Constitution, we represent a goal.
Sorry, here's where they turn up her mic. I warned you guys this was coming. So if you had adjusted your audio, you might want to just turn it down a notch here. Hey, Kamala, how much have you been out there saying that the rest of the world should, allow the ownership of guns or have free speech? You represent these ideas, right? See, and this is why I hate this shit. We have to lead the world, but we never do it in the way that we should.
Yeah, we haven't done that in 100 years. Easily.
No, because we're ashamed of what we are. I'm not, clearly.
Yeah.
But they love to talk this nonsense, and it's always about democracy, never about American values. It's just that we have to export democracy. Democracy got Hamas elected in Gaza.
Yeah, democracy is not the end-all be-all. You have to export the values behind it, too, or it's worthless.
Yes. And we have abandoned that.
Well, they're ashamed of it because they only look at the negatives. Like, oh, look what they did to the poor old noble savages who were getting along just fine with the earth and painting with the color of the wind. Look what they did to the black people and the Chinese. They only look at the flaws. They don't look at the end of slavery. They don't look at equal rights. They don't look at any of that. They don't look at the fact that you can say whatever you think about the government without repercussion, allegedly.
Metal Minister, thank you. I'm not the only one that can tell this woman is absolutely blitzed, right? Her blood alcohol content would just say vodka. I don't want to spread fake news on here. It would say box wine.
Yeah. It would surprise me if she has a couple of drinks to loosen up before she does these interviews. It would explain all the weird laughing.
We know that this is a thing, because remember what the story we heard about where she had to have that fake dinner.
Yeah.
They had a discussion about serving alcohol at the fake dinner because they knew at the real one she'd be drinking, and they decided against it because they were afraid that she wouldn't be able to handle the fake dinner with a little bit of alcohol.
What is wrong with this woman?
She's a drunk.
That I believe, but I think she's dumb too. Assassin said, no, she never mentions liberty. This is not synonymous with democracy. That's a good point. They don't want liberty. They want to control everybody. These are people that want to be in charge.
They might even occasionally, now she's not, but they might occasionally when they're pulling this shit be like, we need to give, they have to have liberty and freedom. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. My handler told me to say it. These are people.
Well.
Yeah, these are people. I mean, the left in general, who are getting to the point where polls show they're actually against freedom of speech.
Yeah.
The last college poll that came out, wasn't it something like 30-some% or 40% of college kids were like, I think there should be limits on free speech?
Anything over 2% is a frightening number on that.
Anything over 0 is a frightening number.
I expect 2% of the commies, to be honest, but for God's sake, how can you not want to have freedom of speech? Because any kind of censorship will be used against you.
Control the language, you control everything. Will not stop preaching that. My dying words will be, I love you, baby. If you control speech, you control everything.
Standard. And when we have someone who has been president, who wants to be president again, who is saying he would be dictator on day one, would weaponize our...
Why don't you ever finish that? Why do they never finish that? He said dictator on day one for a day.
Yeah, because they don't understand jokes. Everything is super serial.
And what he was saying is exactly what you guys did. He's saying he will come in and undo all of the bullshit executive orders that the Biden administration. You were literally asked about this the other day and refused to even address it.
Shocker.
Biden ran on day one, I am going to undo what Trump did. But Trump saying it and making the joke that they call me a dictator. Yeah, I'll be a dictator on the first day for that day. He said he's going to be a dictator. He's going to be a dictator. Every time I hear the word dictator, I just imagine a penis made out of potato.
Yeah, me too.
Michael, thank you. Democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. Democracy alone leads to disaster. Yeah, democracy is just mob rule.
Yep, it's a gang rape.
Yeah, 8 out of 9 people enjoy gang rape. I know we're not supposed to say that joke, but I mean, it makes the point.
It effectively makes the point.
How dare you make a rape joke? That's not even the first rape joke I've made today. Shut up.
Department of Justice, one of the principles of our democracy is that we say we have a justice system that is blind, that is not punitive against.
Wait,
sure thing.
She's not.
She is.
She's even getting more specific. The principle of our democracy. No. The principle of our democracy, for what it is that we can't think of a better way than to democratically elect the people to represent the republic. And at one time that meant landowners. At one time, that meant poll tax and poll tests for people who couldn't read. Was that a fundamental part of American democracy, Jack?
Yes.
They never want to talk about the specifics of it. Because democracy, honestly, guys, I'm not against democracy. I think it definitely has its merits, and I think it should be a limited democracy. I really do think that your ability to vote should be based on your skin in the game. And I don't mean being white or black, or no, I mean there are black people who should have way more say in the vote than I do. LeBron James, fuck the guy because he's a moron. He pays a shit ton more taxes than I ever will. And it's kind of fucked up that I get to help decide how his money gets spent. I'm just saying, democracy is not perfect. It's the best that we have. But every time they talk about it, they always try to throw what little American values they care about. Like suddenly she cares about blind justice.
Yeah, the woman that withheld exculpatory evidence.
Yes. Are you fucking with me right now? This would be like Dahmer coming out and saying you shouldn't eat meat.
Well, you should eat long pig.
Justice. One of the principles of our democracy is that we say we have a justice system that is blind, that is not punitive against one's enemies.
And yet, look at the Trump trials.
You couldn't write this shit. You could not write a more hypocritical candidate.
Nope.
Because nobody would believe it. All right.
They are watching. So this is about direct impact on the American people, and it most certainly will impact people around the world.
You know, I'm so glad you brought that up. And I as a follow-up, I would just ask Congresswoman Cheney too. We live in a dangerous time. I mean, I think Americans are watching what's happening overseas, in Ukraine, in Israel. Republicans used to be the party that would be on the side of our democratic allies like Ukraine. Talk to me a little bit, and all of us, about why, from a foreign policy standpoint, you find yourself able to endorse Democrats who didn't used to be that way.
Because I love war.
Well, she loves death, I think.
Michael, thank you. Blind justice, like the justice that specifically targeted my political opponent. Also, the justice system has nothing to do with democracy. True.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the jury system is, for the people who do make it onto the jury, they have a vote. It's a very, 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 very minor and specific form of democracy. Just try getting on that jury by telling them you can spot guilty people from a mile away and see how democratic it is.
He looks pretty guilty. Don't
I even see a redhead. I want to kill him.
I want to release the souls they've stolen.
All right. The question is, hey, warmonger, why do you think you agree with warmongers? I don't know who this lady is, Lisa, whoever. I only know her name because Kamala said it a little bit ago. But she's not good at this job.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be.
Oh, we haven't seen you for a while. Thank you, Ricaita's coked up 9-year-old. I hope you've been well. Hope the withdrawal.
Rehab.
I hope the withdrawal hasn't been too bad.
Right.
Uncle Monk, if Aunt Kamala needs to practice her dinners, then she can come eat at our place. We have lots to drink, and my favorite, we can put powdered sugar on everything. Our guest room is kind of dirty, so I guess she'll have to bunk with Daddy, though. Wow. That's impressive to get that much of that lore into that small of a chat.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Hey, coke's a hell of a drug. All right. You ever see Robin Williams back when you could tell he was coked up?
Oh my God, yeah.
You'd have thought he was on meth as much as he was bouncing everywhere.
Well, it's not just able to endorse them, but if you look at the numbers of the most senior officials who served Donald Trump, his own vice president, national security advisors.
God, she's going into Kamala's talking points.
Of course
she's not. She's giving us Kamala's stump speech.
Well, everybody's tired of hearing Kamala give it, so she might as well have a surrogate do it.
As chief of staff, the leading generals who served him, who've all said he's unfit. And people really need to stop and think about how completely unprecedented that is.
If people were honest, the entirety of the Biden administration would be saying that about Biden right now.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
And not because Biden said, grab him by the pussy one time, but because the man is literally not there. So forgive me if I don't take the word of none of all of these people who are not saying that. None of them saying this motherfucker still needs to be 25th. January 20th is still way too fucking far away for him to be in power. But I'm going to take their word because Donald Trump fired him.
Well, if Donald Trump doesn't like them, they must be telling the truth.
Must be.
And the idea, when people sort of say, well, we might, be tempted for some reason or another to vote for Donald Trump. If the issue is foreign policy, I would just ask everyone, think about how dangerous and damaging it is to have someone who's totally erratic.
You mean like a dementia patient?
All right. I realize it's been a little while, Jack, since Donald Trump was president. But can you tell me the major conflicts that kicked off while he was president?
Can't think of one.
If I'm not mistaken, Donald Trump was the guy who arranged for us to finally get out of the 20-year war in Afghanistan.
Yeah. And apparently had some plans for pulling out of Iraq too. Tried to get troops out of Syria. What else did he do? Told North Korea to calm it down, and that seemed to work. The Abraham Accords, where he was bringing peace to the Middle East.
I see so many little leftist assholes right now being like, Biden has a chance to bring peace to the Middle East now that Sinwar's dead. No, he doesn't. And it's amazing to me that they're pointing to that and not pointing out that there was peace over there. And as you said, the Abraham Accords, which that is not a minor thing. Some of these countries agreeing that Israel has a right to exist and normalizing trade with them is not a minor thing in the Middle East. But even with Sinwar there, Donald Trump was getting it done. And they're like, now that the Jews killed the bad guy, Biden can do something. Biden can't bring peace to his underpants. I mean, when they're taken off and washed, somebody brings peace to him.
That dude doesn't wear underwear. He's just got Depends, dude.
Oh, man.
Totally erratic, completely unstable, someone who has aligned himself with, who idolizes tyrants. He idolizes tyrants.
You don't have to idolize tyrants to point out things that they do well, even if it's a bad thing that they do well.
Yeah.
This is part of Americanism that has really gotten old. I mean, whether you like it or not, Hitler was very good at riling up his people, getting them to go for the nonsense. He was an excellent speaker for them at the time. I'm not saying what he did was good. He was an asswipe and we should have shot him sooner.
No, but he wouldn't have been elected if he couldn't communicate things.
Yes.
And he wouldn't have been in power as long as he was if he wasn't good at rallying a crowd. He was the right person at the right time with the wrong ideas. because he's an incredibly evil man. But he can communicate. He was a good orator for that time.
And it's important to note that so that you can watch for it. Saying that Putin is good at controlling his people or whatever they're mad about that he said doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't mean what he's doing is right. Fuck.
It's a distinction that we're not allowed to talk about anymore.
No, and it's dangerous not to.
Absolutely, but they don't want you to. They don't want you to think.
Ignoring shit like that is how Hitler was allowed to rise to power in the first fucking place.
Yep. Like, look, this guy's a good speaker, but his ideas are really dangerous. Said nobody apparently that died.
You know, again, the choice here with respect to national security policy is a man who has proven, he's absolutely proven that he will not stand up. He won't defend this nation.
I wish you guys could see the picture behind my, behind my, what's it called? That watermark there. The one that it looks like my head's on his shoulders. That is one freaky looking dude.
Well, I'm glad we can't see him then.
It looks like Clint Howard's dad.
Oh,
I know how you can see him. It'll be smaller, but there you go. This dude up here. He parts his hair in the middle, but he's got severe male pattern baldness, so it just looks funny.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Sorry, I get distracted by things. All right, moving along. She's rambling.
With respect to our own Constitution and rule of law. And Vice President Harris, who has been clear in terms of support for Ukraine, in terms of recognizing and understanding across the board that America cannot maintain our own freedom and security if we walk away from our allies around the world. And our adversaries know
like Israel, when you gave Iran $300 million over the past two administrations to the Democrats?
Unfroze $6 billion just under not Obama, Barack.
Yeah.
Keldrick, thank you. To be fair, Hitler did one thing right. He did kill Hitler. True.
Well, there's that. Like, not everybody is entirely evil.
I'm sorry. I got distracted by that super chat. There was a point I wanted to address with what she said here, and I forgot what it was. So we got to go back. I'm sorry, guys. That's twice tonight. My memory has just gone like, nah.
That happens.
of support for Ukraine in terms of recognizing and understanding across the board that America cannot maintain our own freedom and security if we walk away from our allies around.
Ukraine's not an ally.
No.
We are not allied with Ukraine.
But they did give a lot of money to Joe.
Yeah. If we walk away from our allies. We don't even have like an interim agreement. Kamala Harris understands that we need to stand with our allies like Ukraine, who's not an ally. You can't just say shit. Israel absolutely is not an ally. We don't have a treaty with them. Yes, we do. We have a military treaty with them. There's the U.S.-Israeli alliance. I swear we do.
I don't remember.
It's not one that instantly kicks in like Article 5 of NATO. Huh. Now I have to look it up.
On the world. And our adversaries know that they can play Donald Trump. They absolutely know that they can play him. And
Crimea River, bitch.
Crimea?
What? I did that on purpose.
I saw that. That's not
I'm clever. I'm clever. Okay. Our our enemies know they can play Donald Trump. How much money did the Iranians get from Trump?
Don't remember him giving them any money.
How many countries did Russia invade when he was president?
0?
How many attacks were there on Israel from Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis or any of the people in that region?
So few that it's forgettable.
Huh. I hate to use such an overused term, but useful idiot? What the fuck are you talking about?
That's accurate, though.
It's like they're living in bizarro world and wanting us to all join them there.
They think men can be women, dude.
Up is down.
We simply can't afford to take that risk. So as someone who's spent a career on national security issues, again, this was not at all a difficult choice for me. The choice here is absolutely clear in terms of the necessity of supporting Vice President Harris.
And if I may emphasize, part of the backbone of our national security is our military.
I feel like there should be a photo of Biden looking at his watch right now.
No shit. She has a way of stating the obvious, doesn't she?
You would think so, but I think she thinks these are great pearls of wisdom that she's spouting.
Part of the backbone of our national security is our military. No shit. Why do you treat them like fuck then? Why are you putting in women pretending that they can actually fight? Jesus Christ. All right.
And let's please not overlook how someone who wants to be commander-in-chief and has talked about our servicemen and women.
Don't
She'll
do
lie
it.
right here.
Has talked about an American hero like John McCain, who was a prisoner of war. Said he didn't respect him, didn't like him because he got caught. Has talked about our...
Yeah, he was being a dick. That's all right. I do not have a problem with him making fun of John McCain when they're in a campaign against each other. I don't have a problem with that at all.
I believe that's called smack talk.
Yep.
service members as though they are less than the most courageous of us, those who...
Weren't you telling me that the most courageous people were nurses just a couple of years ago?
Shh. That's one of them their hate facts.
Nurses and the people who stock grocery store shelves?
People doing their jobs.
put on the uniform, who represent the United States of America, who are willing to die for the sake of everything we stand for. And he calls them suckers and losers.
No, he didn't. Stop it.
Yeah, there's so many people saying that was never said. You are lying. You are sharing a lie. Stop it.
Isn't it funny that they'll point to all of these people who were in the Trump administration who don't think he should be the commander-in-chief ever again? It's a danger. But all of the people who saying that the one guy who claimed that shit is lying, they don't mean shit?
Correct.
All right. Sure, why not?
These things cannot be overlooked. And
They
I
can't
have
because they're
said many
lies.
times publicly, and I'll say it again. In many, many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of him being president of the United States are brutally serious.
Okay, fine. The problem here is that he's already been president, and you have to give specific examples of things that he did that were so serious.
They're super serial.
Super serial. Look, Vladimir Putin is going to take over the world if we let Donald Trump be elected, just like he did last time.
Oh my God, again? Oh, it was super scary last time.
Yeah, it was bad enough when you guys were saying this shit when there wasn't a record, but we have a record. It is one of the problems with the Kamala campaign. This is a very weird election.
Oh, yeah.
We have basically two incumbents running, with one of them being a incumbent light. because we have somebody who has been president running against somebody who's been vice president. That is like incredibly, I don't know if that's ever happened before.
If it has, it was so long ago that none of us remember without
I believe
looking it up.
I believe the last time that a former incumbent ran again and ended up winning was against the current incumbent. So it was two incumbents. We're as close as you can get to that without it being Biden versus Trump here.
Yeah. Like maybe Teddy Roosevelt.
It is amazing to watch them try to pretend that we don't both run that Donald Trump has a horrible record and pretend like we didn't live through it. Like Donald Trump is going to cause a nuclear war just like he did last time.
Just like Joe's got us to the brink of.
The last time that Donald Trump was president, AOC died 85 times in one day.
So tragic.
You can't run this the same way you would a normal election. Kamala, there are things that you could get some people on your side with if you were honest about Trump. Not me, because I know you're an idiot, but you could point to the insane amount of spending, not the COVID part of it, but the first 3 years. He spent way too much.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's things you can find, and instead you make shit up and try to instill fear of things that are going to happen. Literally the same talking points y'all used in 2016. Metal Minister, thank you. Elon needs to invent IRL community notes to pop up while these liars are lying. Fair. Thank you so much, Dangerous Spaces. Donald Trump threatened to kill an Afghan leader if they harmed U.S. soldiers. He entered the DMZ, negotiated 3 peace deals. Zelensky whistles and Kamala gives money. Who gets played, Liz? Fuck off. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And Dangerous is one of those people that Kamala was talking about a little while ago where the rest of the world, they need us too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is the American election, but it has consequences across the world. And the rest of the world, if people are paying attention and going, what is this bitch talking about? Unfroze $6 billion for the Iranians.
There are things that he says that will be the subject of skits and laughter and jokes.
Not parody. Holy shit. That's horrible.
Sweetheart, he just went to McDonald's and made a mockery of you yesterday.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Fuck.
For her.
And you can parody anything if done right.
Yeah.
I don't know what is she getting at here?
I don't know. It's more elitism. Like, oh, well, we're above reproach. He's just a silly little jester man.
Even though they did it in the most lame way possible, even SNL was making fun of you the other day for trying to get a viral moment in the Brett Baer interview.
Yep.
He'll say things that get mocked. Venn diagram, bitch. Buses, school buses.
Electric school buses.
Joy, 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 joy.
So much joy.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know what her point was. Her saying that is amazing to me.
But words have meaning coming from someone who aspires to stand behind the seal of the President of the United States.
Okay, hang on. The person that can't speak in sentences that make sense is telling me words have meaning. She's been word salading for years. This woman is a fucking idiot. And words have meanings when they're said. Shut up. You're the vice president and you're speaking gibberish.
Her VP choice said that he's friends with school shooters.
Yeah, words have meaning.
Words have meaning. So apparently he really is. Don't overlook that, guys. They try to have it both ways. They really do. And look, I do think that words should have meaning. And yes, people misspeak. But her whole, I mean, how many times have we watched this bitch now where literally at some point we have to stop and go, what?
Oh, every time she gives a speech or an interview, we have to ask what the fuck she's talking about because nobody knows.
The last time we watched her was the Brett Baer thing with any length, was the
Yeah.
Brett Baer thing where she was asked, why do 50% of Americans support Donald Trump after she had just gone on this long rant about how much he sucks? And her answer was, nobody said elections were easy.
That's not an answer.
And you and I were both like, what the fuck? But I don't know if you paid attention to the chat when that happened. It blew up with everybody going, what the fuck? What is she talking about?
Nobody knows, man. It's just
yeah.
says things.
I know you didn't mean it right there, but you just reminded me more of the Brett Baer interview where she goes, you know what I mean. And he's like, I really don't. What do you mean?
And he really looked like he didn't know what the hell she's talking about.
Because nobody knew what the hell she was talking about.
They know me. They know me. They know what I'm like. I'm just a big silly knucklehead. These people are so fucking arrogant. They think people understand all their gibberish.
Oh.
If she said this at a cocktail party debate, oh, that's so wise. So wise. You're so stunning and brave.
I saw that clip again today, and I realized she honestly did think that Brett Baer understood what she was trying to say, because the only people she's talked to, the only reporters, she hasn't been challenged anywhere. Yeah. And if she says anything, they just nod right along. So she thought she was being profound and that she would just get that normal, oh my God, you're so smart. I wish I was you. You're like Bella in the vampire books.
Yeah, you're like Bella and that Confucius guy because you're so smart. Real quick, thank you, Frosted Glass. Kamala speaks like she has astronaut floating around her head, unplugging things. They rush her off stage before she starts singing Daisy. Oh God, that's an awesome reference. But if she responds to the McDonald's thing by reenacting the dance party from Mac and Me, she has my vote. Yeah, I'll give you that one. I've definitely considered if she recreated scenes from Mac and Me. Thank you, Keldrick. Words have meaning. Then learn what they are and stop using words you don't understand. Good luck with that.
Words have meaning. Isn't this the woman who keeps having to answer why she said things in 2019 that she refuses to back up today?
It was a debate.
Isn't she the one who was against fracking? Isn't she the one who said that she was, you're damn right, we're coming to take your guns?
Her values have never changed, Monkey.
But no, I didn't. I'll follow the law. Guns and Water says, I love the chat. We have the best chat anyway. And I don't just mean because they come and watch us. Our chat is funny as shit. And they're great discussions that go on in there.
Oh, absolutely. I love reading chat because I come from chat. They're my people.
I really do wish we could somehow integrate the two chats together so everybody sees everything.
That would be a lot better because there's a lot of good stuff that gets ignored over on Rumble.
All right.
Brand, I'm going to lose it. Fuck this bitch with a rusted spork. I like how you use spork.
Do sporks rust?
I don't know. They may make metal ones.
I, honest to God, do not understand how this woman has ascended to this power.
Look, man, any turd can float upward. It's just a matter of buoyancy.
I get the reference there, but they had a chance to handpick their candidate, and they went with her
because they needed the money. They needed the money that the Biden campaign had, so they had to go with her. Why they let her pick Tim Walz is the real mystery here. Like at some point where they just like, yeah, this is gonna fail. Let's throw some asshole in there.
I honestly think that they thought that she could win because right after the debate, you see some pushback against Biden, and you see a whole lot of people start talking about who should do it, and for reasons that don't make any sense to me, they went with her, and they had better choices. I don't think anybody could have beat Trump this time. But why would you bring in a candidate that at this point you already know is so flawed that the only way for her to win is Trump hatred.
Maybe they thought that they were more popular than Trump. Like they bought into their own press. Oh, they do sell metal sporks on Amazon. They're $5 a piece.
So what?
Sporks.
Oh, okay.
Metal sporks.
Yeah, you said metal, and I couldn't hear what you said. I thought you said sports, and I was like,
Oh,
where the fuck did that come from?
I don't know. I say things.
Oh, anybody in chat who watches football, anybody know the score of the game tonight? All I got to see was the one play where the guy drops a fucking ball right before the end zone. Q, thank you. I want to sit Kamala down with that 14-year-old who was wrecking feminists on podcast after podcast last year. Words have meaning, you say? Name 10 books, bitch. Green eggs and ham. Go dog go. 1 foot, 2 foot. Hand,
Hop
finger,
on pop. And the Communist Manifesto.
Thank you, Michael. I know this is off topic and you can feel free to circle back later, but did you see the Matt and Blonde show breakup? I wonder about your thoughts on that. Well, Michael, funny you should bring that up. Tune into last night's show about halfway through.
Yeah, we did talk about it briefly.
We spent almost an hour on that.
Yeah, briefly.
For us, yeah, that's fair. God, we're 2 hours into this show already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked. The short answer, I think it probably should have all been handled off stream. I think Matt is a little emotional about it, but I think it's probably best with what we know for them to walk away from each other. And I hope the best for Matt's show because I know he's got a family that depends on that, and I enjoy his work.
Yeah, like I like both of them. So it's sad to see a show break up, but you could see this coming. It is obvious that there was some contention there, and Blonde was getting more disinterested with the topics. She didn't want to deal with the regular news cycle, and that's been kind of apparent for a little while. So it sucks, but
her first tweet since this has gone down, because I'm not gonna be on the show tonight, so I'm not talking about this really, just this final statement kind of thing. She tweeted today to retweet Nick Fuentes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not entirely surprised by that. I'm disappointed because Fuentes is a closet homosexual. I think my suspicions, but yeah, it's one of those things. People grow apart, life changes. It sucks for the fans, but a lot of times stuff happens. They can't all be Bob and Tom, where they're together for 30 years until one of them dies.
Fuck SNL. They basically said Jews, Israel bombing them is the reason for Sharia law. I saw that clip. The reason that there hasn't been any kind of meaningful liberal reformation in Gaza or in the Middle East is because of the bombings, paying no attention to the 1400 years they had to not treat women and all outsiders like shit. Anyway.
Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato. Maybe they're just trying to get rid of Kamala, so setting her up to lose to Trump means they could push her out and not deal with her again. That's a possibility. I think she would have been forgotten after this cycle anyway if Trump won. Most people don't remember the VPs unless they become president or they do a crime.
I don't think that was the intention. I've seen that thought a lot, is that they were just throwing her to the wolves because they needed a sacrificial lamb. They wanted to win this. They just realized they need to cut their losses. Because right now, if this election happened today, she loses. Period. We're 2 weeks out. That could change. We might be the day before, and I might go, guys, I think Kamala's going to win. But from everything I see right now, she's going to get an ass whipping. It's going to surprise the press how much she loses by.
Oh, God, I hope she loses like Mondale. That'd be so fucking amazing. But we all know she's going to get at least California.
She'll get California. She'll get New York. She'll get Minnesota, or not Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. I still have hope for Minnesota. I think it'll be at least a lot closer than folks think it's going to be. Let's see. She'll get part of the northeast corridor up there.
Yeah.
I don't see her winning many other places though.
No, because look at how badly she's been doing in interviews in her rallies. She says the same thing at every rally. They're very generic. She just changes her accent. That's not inspiring people. You're not bringing people in. They're just chasing people away.
You think she could lose the popular vote? California is a big place. It's possible. I don't think if she loses the popular vote, it'll be by much. Maybe a few million.
It'll be. I think a lot of that's going to be fortified.
Yeah, when you have states like New York and California that are going to go for her, and they're going to be called before the news media can even say she's won California as the polls close. That's how quickly she's going to win those states. It's hard to overcome that in popular terms.
Yeah.
If Chicago went red, Chicago goes red every weekend.
That's the blood of the fallen, not the voting groups.
Yeah,
it is MAGA country, I've heard.
It is MAGA country. I think she's going to take a massive landslide loss here. Maybe not Mondale levels, but I could see her only walking away with 100 electoral votes.
I want the media to have a meltdown on par or better than the TYT one in 2016. I want them to be so appalled by Trump's landslide victory that they are the saddest people on the planet.
Furry says, who cares about the popular vote? You are a Republican. It's still nice to win the popular vote, which the Republicans haven't done since what, 04?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So it's still nice if the majority of the population is on the side of the winner, but if it's not, look, we are a Republican. That is what matters. To the point though about Democrats and whether they set Kamala up, there is a part of the Democratic Party that is so desperate for a female president. They thought they had it with Hillary, and when she crashed and burned against Trump, they started looking for Hillary 2.0 and they settled on Kamala. Why?
Yeah.
Pantsuits is the best answer I have for you.
Well, she's not only a woman, she's a person of color. So she's like better than Hillary.
And they desperately wanted her in 2020. They thought she was the ticket, and smarter people in their party were like, no, Joe Biden is our best chance. And he was. He really was. I still stand by that assessment. It doesn't mean he was a good person to become president, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about who has the best chance of winning, and it was Joe Biden. I don't think anybody expected the utter disaster that her 2019 campaign would be, and they chalked it up to political inexperience. So they insert her into the Biden campaign, fully expecting to get her seasoned for her run. And then he has to drop out because there's no getting around how bad he looked. Oh, thank you, Dangerous. Words have meaning like I have a big red button and mine works, or if you harm one hair on our soldier's head, I will kill you. People are scared of Trump. Who will fear Captain Chuckles here? Nobody. Ben Shapiro told a great story today about where he met Donald Trump. And Trump told this story that he called up Vlad and said, if you invade Ukraine under my watch, I will bomb you. And Putin said, no, you won't. And Trump answered, I might. And there's power in I might.
That's the thing. People like Putin respect it. Yeah, because somebody like Putin understands that Trump's a loose fucking cannon and he might actually do it.
Yep. Like, wait, can we, you know what? Let's just wait for a Democrat. We know we can take land when they're in power. Remember with al-Assad and Obama's line in the sand?
Yeah.
If you cross this line, we won't put up with it. This
We'll be
line?
very upset.
That line that's behind me now, then what?
Yeah, you mean the one where I just gassed my people? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What are you going to do about it, bitch? Oh, yeah, nothing. You're going to talk
And
a lot.
and that's exactly what we did. Nothing.
Yeah, they
A-
talked. He gave another pretty speech.
And look, I don't think we necessarily should have been involved in the Syrian conflict anyway, because
No,
basically you're talking about the rise of worse Muslim leaders.
yeah,
Um, but if you're going to say, hey, this is our line in the sand and they cross it, you have to respond.
yeah. Otherwise, you look like a bitch, and that's what Obama was. He was a pussy bitch. He liked drone striking Americans, and random people on the hills of Afghanistan, but largely he was kind of he was a warmonger, but a coward at the same time because he wouldn't back up anything he said.
Yeah, you have to. It's the same as, the parent. Don't make me count to 3.
Yeah,
They understand very quickly that your threats are empty. Say what you want about Reagan, but if he told somebody, I'm going to bomb you, he bombed the shit out of him.
yeah.
And people are like, yeah, let's not fuck with Ronnie. Cross that line and we'll move it. Yeah, and that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, you can't have that kind of foreign policy. If you're going to wave your dick, you have to be willing to put it out on the table when somebody challenges you. He needed to learn the lesson, and Democrats need to learn this lesson. The Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly but carry a big stick.
Yeah, you have to be willing to use that stick, though, and they're not. They're willing to use it in areas they know they can, like, crush an enemy, like Iran. It'd be pretty easy to beat. But
instead of speaking softly and carrying a big stick, they boast and have a tiny little penis.
Yeah, that does seem to be the issue.
You can't do it that way, or they won't respect you, and they will invade the Ukrainian peninsula. They will, or so that they can connect to the Crimean Peninsula. They will do a horrible terrorist attack against the Jews because they know you ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
They know you're going to have your media out there going, the poor Palestinians. Fuck them. I wonder if they're going to have a new vote on who their leader should be. Who's the worst shitbag still living in Gaza?
I'm sure there's quite a few.
Yeah, I don't think that Kamala has much of a chance right now. And I think you would need a hell of an October surprise right now to knock Trump off. And again, it's another part of the problem that they have is that he's an incumbent. So they've already thrown everything they have at this guy.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of assassination attempts,
Mm-hmm.
trying to mock him for doing what normal people do.
Arresting him, trying him, convicting him. They have nothing left. What are they going to come out with in the next 2 weeks that's going to make people go, oh, I didn't know that about him? They've overplayed their hand.
Pretty considerably from the look of things.
They're betting all in on a pair of deuces, man. It's bad. And I don't think that the Democrats did it on purpose because they hate Kamala. They wanted Kamala to be the one. She just really sucks.
Yeah.
And then they took a closer look and they're like, fuck. And I do think, and I think it's already started, that the press is going to use this when she does end up losing as a way to try to retcon Biden's legacy.
By blaming her?
Yeah. Biden, we saw the Hill thing this morning. Well, I talked about it, but I read the Hill article this morning. Maybe Biden was the best candidate.
I've actually seen people say that. Yeah.
The story was written about Bob Woodward's new book. And in it, apparently Bob Woodward says that there was nothing mentally wrong with Biden. It was just physical issues he'd had in the past that were taking his body down now.
Sure.
And I'm like, I mean, technically his mouth is part of his body. And he did say that a sister could impregnate a sister, but that came from his brain.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be some kind of genetic condition like dementia.
I mean, it's not that he, fucked up his knee playing football, so it made him say that women can impregnate each other. The guy's had clearly lost his fucking mind. But if you read that story, Jack, you will get the impression that there was literally nothing cognitively wrong with Biden. He was sharp as a tack. A tack that had been sharpened to be extra sharp.
That was rusty.
It's amazing to see already. And if I'm Kamala, I start getting mad. And not at Donald Trump, but at her own party and her own side, because they're already writing her off.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if Trump's guys have any dirt on her walls.
I don't know. I mean, both of them, whether you can't say that Kamala hasn't been in the spotlight at all, but again, nobody pays that much attention to vice presidents. Mm-hmm. So they might get a little bit of some opposition research done on them when they're the VP. It's a whole different ballgame when they're the candidate. I think they probably have something that they're holding back just in case it's needed. And if that is the case, that'll probably release by this Friday, because there's no reason to hold on to it. Might as well take your shot. And pretty much after Friday, there's nothing that's going to change the vote. For all the people who are like, I'm undecided. No, you're not. And I know there's going to be somebody in the audience like, wait, I am undecided. Okay, unicorn. You and nobody else. We are 2 weeks from the election. Anybody who still has questions about these two isn't serious.
Or isn't going to vote.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's mostly a done deal. There's a slight chance that something could change that really pulls her ahead. I have no doubt that they have something planned. I mean, we see Kamala's events, more and more celebrities are coming. Her last event, she had what was it? Lizzo, Usher, and Al Sharpton. There's only so many celebrities that can endorse you, sweetie. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's not moving the needle. It just came out yesterday, Jack, that Kamala outraised Trump in September. I think it was 6-1, maybe 2-1. I forget the exact number, by well over $100 million.
Wow. And she's doing this bad?
Yes. And I'm just looking at all these people talking up how much she raised in September. And all I can think is things are even worse for her than I thought. How the hell you outraise him by that much and have been on a steady decline? Maybe that's why she was so pissed off at the $20 million Trump spent on that ad, pointing out that I said we should give dick cutting surgery to prisoners. And it's kind of emblematic of her 2019 campaign too, Jack. Because remember, she raised $40 million. That is a lot of money in a primary. I don't remember if it was a record, but it's close to the record. You're close to records back then. 40 million, and she couldn't make it to the starting line. She fucked up her whole campaign being one of the most wealthy campaigns out there.
Wow.
So to see that she is fucking up so badly that she can outraise him at least 2-1 and still be losing, or tied, if you believe some of the polls that came out. I believe it was from, was it NBC? I saw it in The Hill, but I don't remember who they were talking about. It had Kamala up in 3 of the swing states, Trump up in 2, and 2 of them a dead heat, I think it was. I'm like, stop playing. You guys know that you oversampled Democrats. To be fair, Trump has gotten a lot of free press with the assassination attempts and the McDonald's stunt. I had several arguments with people today about the McDonald's stunt. And I was trying to explain to them, it's a big win for Trump. They're like, no, how is this a win? What was everybody talking about yesterday? Was anybody talking about Kamala?
No, not really. I mean, they were trying to say Trump was just doing a stunt and Kamala's a serious candidate, but that's all
Mhm.
they'd say. You couldn't really play any clips of her talking because she sounds stupid.
The fact that he controlled that narrative with such a silly in a normal world, it is a silly little stunt that nobody pays that much attention to. Like, oh, he went and served at McDonald's. Interesting.
Yeah, but it was, they made it a big deal. Trump is a
Yeah.
genius at marketing himself. The guy should have been a carnival barker in 1900. He could have given P.T. Barnum a run for his money.
They were only talking about Kamala in relation to Trump. And yeah, notice none of them brought up the gas station visit of hers.
Yeah.
Not one of them. But he was just doing that. He is a master at controlling the narrative. And if you go back to the 2020 election, the news was all about, we are not going to show you Donald Trump like we did in 2016 because we think that we were responsible for getting Trump elected. So we're not going to show you him. And so Trump was like, all right, fuck it, game on. And in this year, they can't not talk about, they have to talk about him because their only chance is to make people hate him.
Yeah.
And he's using that to his advantage. It's marketing genius. But anyway, if the Dems played it smart and laughed at it, they could have turned it into Trump's equivalent of the Dukakis in the tank. I don't think they could have. I think what they should have done is just ignored it, let it go virally out there on the internet, and maybe a human interest kind of thing on the news, and then just leave it. But instead, they were so angry about it. I don't think that they could have turned it in. Sorry, Jack. I don't think they could have turned it into a Dukakis moment because it still worked for his side, and the Dukakis moment didn't work for anyone.
Dukakis was a terrible candidate, but also the left has no sense of humor anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like SNL 30 years ago probably could have made it into a funny sketch. A couple of the comedy troops could have done something with it. The late night guys would have done something with it. That'd have been about it. But they don't have that sense of humor anymore. They're just mean. And being mean about this looks like they were trying to make it look like Trump was insulting McDonald's workers, but it came off as the newscasters making insulting comments about retail and service workers. It had nothing to do with Trump. Trump didn't make anyone look bad. He just was like, look, I can do the same jobs you can do. It was a very simple human interest story, like you said, that would have been a throwaway, like 10-second coverage would have been about it.
I have no doubt SNL will dust off Killer and have him pretend to be Trump at McDonald's this week. But it won't be funny, and they'll miss the whole point of what was going on. It was a very humanizing event that he did.
Yeah, and a lot of people related well to it. The most they could come up with was, he didn't really get hired at McDonald's. Well, no shit, idiot.
And he even was gracious enough to wish Kamala a happy birthday when somebody brought up that it was is it really a happy birthday to her?
Yeah.
And you could tell he was being genuine when he said it. He wasn't like, oh, well, happy birthday, bitch. He was like, no, it's her birthday. Happy birthday. And you know how I feel about birthdays. So that endeared him to me more.
Yeah.
It was just a good moment for him. And the best you can do in that situation is ignore it. And if I was their political advisors, that's what just ignore this. Go out there and do something yourself. He took away her possibility to have any of those moments going forward in the next 2 weeks. Because anything she does is just going to be seen as a cheap ploy to try to copy him.
Yeah. Which she's done quite a bit of.
Yeah. He was going to get her fries. Well, they asked him that, and he actually said, I think I'm going to send her flowers. And then he changed that. Maybe I'll send her some fries, some McDonald's. It was great. It was a great moment. Trump is smarter than any give him credit for. True. 100% true.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a smart guy. And if you listen to people who've met the man, it's very much like Bill Clinton. And I don't mean that in an insulting, he's going to try to grab your pussy and rape you kind of way. Everybody who met Bill Clinton said the man just has a way of making you feel like the only person in the room. He knows your mom's name. He knows your cousin's name. He knows of course, he knows your mom's name as a woman. But he remembers your family. He might have met you once back in 1978, and he remembers that conversation. Trump is very much like that, where they say he's just a very personable guy. If you talk to him, he's down to earth. He's a billionaire being described as down to earth by very rich people.
Yeah, and very poor people too.
Yeah.
And that relatability is good for business, but it also is good for politics.
Yes.
So people like it when their boss is relatable to them and treats them with a little bit of respect. It doesn't take much for people to become loyal employees. That's why Trump has a lot of loyalty. So he's learned to ingratiate himself well with people over the years and be attentive and listen to their needs and what they're interested in. And that works really well for him here. So it makes him a lot more likable.
Hugh, thank you. Trump has a track record of working menial jobs, like when he'd take over bellhop duties at his hotels. Yeah, they are PR stunts, but the fact that he knows what it's like to do the blue-collar jobs matters. I do think that as a boss, you should be doing the menial labor now and then just to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And to show that you don't think you're better than the people who do that on a daily basis. It's just endearing to your staff.
It breeds loyalty.
Yes. Hammond Bean says, I'm noticing a lot more lefty bullshit on Twitter lately. I think someone is messing with the algorithm over this. No, the left is panicking. They're absolutely panicking right now. And I'm seeing accounts that haven't been on Twitter since they said they were leaving because of Elon taking over.
They might have got sick of all the CP on Mastodon.
Maybe. Danger says, so undercover boss. Basically, yeah, but if you're in any kind of supervisor role, you should be willing to go work with the guys doing the hard stuff now and then.
At least
go hang out with
familiarize yourself with them. Yeah, go down and visit and say hi and see how they do their job and if they need anything. That's just good management.
Bill wasn't bad when he was in office. He bombed an aspirin factory to try to get the fact he got his dick sucked taken out of the headlines. And look, I believe that there was some intelligence telling him that there might be a weapons factory there, a chemical factory there, which it was. I mean, it was a pharmaceutical company. But he absolutely jumped that gun just to change the headlines, and he killed a lot of innocent people.
Well, I mean, if you can't rape them.
I think most of what Bill did was good was forced on him by Republicans, because him trying to let his wife in on running things caused a whole revolt in the country.
Yeah, because she was more extreme than he was.
Yeah. I mean, Republicans took over both houses of the Congress for the first time in 48 fucking years. That is 24 congressional elections and 8 Senate elections.
Yeah. Say what you will about Newt Gingrich. He did do a good move with that Contract for America thing and sold it well.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and before anybody corrects me, I mean 8 full cycles of senators. So there's 6-year terms. Because we still vote for senators every 2 years. It's just we're only voting for a third of them at a time. Newt Gingrich, what used to be a pretty smart guy, he understood PR back in the day, but he got so much shit for the government shutdowns that he kind of, I think, started second guessing himself. He was so worried. He thought he was going to run for president, and he eventually did for like 3 days.
Yeah, it's laughable.
But he elevated the speaker position to a place it hadn't been in probably more than a century. And he had his eyes on the prize, and he got so much pushback over that he kind of folded and spiraled in many ways since.
Yeah. I think a lot of that was he bought into his own hype.
Yeah.
And then started second guessing himself, and things just went to shit. I've heard some of his books are pretty good, but I haven't read any of them.
He's not a dumb man, and politically he's talking not policy, politics. Just like James Carville, I mean, I think that man's insane, but when it comes to party politics, he's got a brilliant mind for it. That doesn't mean he wins every time, Jack. Neither did Gingrich or anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have loved to have seen Carville and someone like Newt go up against each other just on the politics side of things, just the Trumpian kind of things.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've both kind of lost their minds.
Yes. But they are, in that regard, smart guys.
Yeah.
I don't think either of them, though, can hold a candle to Trump. That man just seems to have an innate sense for this shit. And maybe it comes from business. Somebody mentioned how the presidency ages presidents, but it doesn't seem to have affected Trump. And there is some truth to that, but there's a reason for it, because most of these guys are the highest power they've achieved by the time they become president is governor. And it's rarely like governor of California or governor of Texas, right? Although the last couple that we've had that were governors were California and Texas. It's usually smaller states like Arkansas. And you get in there and you have suddenly this massive job with tons of stress. Trump has been dealing with stress as a businessman in New York since like he could crawl.
Yeah, it's been his entire life. So it's not that much different.
Yeah, he knows the answer to stress is some McDonald's and a blowjob.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's rich and has a hot wife. I mean, his level of stress is not like a normal person going in that job.
Trump isn't a scumbag. Yeah, part that we didn't get to in that that interview. Sorry, I got bored with those two cackles.
Yeah.
I think it's Cheney who says it, who says, when you look at the people running for president, you should really ask yourself, which one would you let watch your kids? I'm like, well,
none of them.
I watched Donald Trump's granddaughter up there on the stage. And just based on that, if I was like, oh shit, I need a babysitter, and Don was like, I'll do it, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because that kid is going to have a great time, first of all. He seems like the kind of guy that spoils he likes children. So
yes.
Hey, you want to go to Disney? I'll shut it down for a week and we'll have fun.
But these are the same people. Ashley Biden said she was showering with her dad long after it was appropriate. And they're like, that's who I'd let watch my kid.
Maybe they're those kind of parents, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hollywood types.
Yeah, I think that was the greatest moment of the RNC was her little speech that she gave. And he sneaks us candy when mom and dad aren't looking.
Yeah.
And the fucking shit-eating grin he got on his face. That's a grandpa face right there. I know it well.
Well, he seems like he's just a normal guy. He's not weird like so many of the politicians. He's a teetotaler, which is unusual. You know, he doesn't drink or do drugs. But he doesn't seem like he's one of those elitists. You know, he seems like a normal person.
Yeah, I mean, he is different than you and me, Jack. He's a fucking billionaire. He's never had to worry about paying the light bill in his life.
Yeah.
But he just seems down to earth. And that moment, if that's what you're going to base it on, how the fuck would you choose Kamala? Who did you see the thing the other day where her best friend, this is her best friend since kindergarten? It's this staged photo op moment where they bring in this grandma who apparently went to, how come they can find who went to kindergarten with Kamala, but not who worked with her at McDonald's at least 20 years later?
Because everything is fake about her and staged.
They bring these kids up there who are this lady's child and grandchildren, and they've clearly never met her before. And Kamala's talking to them like they're some strange beings, which if you pay attention to the way she talks to children, she's always like that. She's not comfortable around kids.
No, she's not comfortable around most people.
Yeah.
But children seem to be like exceptionally like, they're going to touch me with their sticky fingers, aren't they?
One of my children, my oldest son, middle child, he had a kindergarten teacher who didn't like to be touched by children.
Oh, that's Wow.
Yeah, as a kindergarten teacher. I don't know if you know this about kindergartners, but they are very touchy-feely people.
Yeah, and they have sticky little fingers. They'll pull your hair.
Yep.
Just ask any cat.
And yeah, it was really weird. And she had this really soft voice to the point that she had to wear a headset with a microphone piped through the classroom so the kids could hear her.
That's weird.
I'm like, how the fuck did you become a teacher?
Yeah, you're creeping me out with this. I mean,
yeah, I did not like that woman. Unfortunately, my middle child had the worst teachers going through school. The oldest and the youngest got the good teachers, and for the middle child got screwed. It's just what happens to us.
Yeah.
Even in the school system, apparently.
Well, someday you guys will learn.
It's because children are the only ones that are more protected as a class than BIPOC women. What do you mean? Are we talking about why she won't touch him? I think she won't touch him because she doesn't like kids. Kamala's evil, man. I'm convinced of that. She's like actually from hell.
I mean, that or Zeta Reticuli.
You ever seen her with a dog?
No. I'm pretty sure dogs will growl at her and try and cower in a corner like they do when they see most evil creatures.
Right. No dogs, no kids. Those are tells. Those are warning signs.
Yeah. What about, and religious objects?
Yeah.
Maybe has she been around garlic before? Does she have a reflection? Because we may be onto the undead here.
Mr. Hugh, you have a point there. No touching is better than bad touching. That is true.
Yeah, there's that. Biden likes kids too. He likes them differently.
Differently, yes.
That's how he survives, is smelling their hair.
I don't think that teachers should be like hugging on their kids and stuff, but like kindergartners will run up and just grab your hand to try to get your attention and pull on it.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's how they interact with adults.
You shouldn't have a teacher who's like, ooh, don't touch me.
I don't want your gross little stinky fingers touching me, kid.
Her reflection would just be a teleprompter. Yeah, I haven't seen her around mirrors either. I'm just saying, there's something wrong with that woman.
Telling you, vampire.
It is not. Even Hillary Clinton has been around kids and actually seems genuine with them.
Yeah, she seems like a very controlling kind of person, but she's at least been around children before.
The closest Kamala has gotten to children is Mary and Doug when his kids were already growing up.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, what, teenagers by the time she got in the picture?
Yeah, she's not I don't trust that alone. No kids or dog. And I'm not even a dog person, but I do trust dogs in their opinion of people. Because they can smell stuff we can't. They can smell evil, Jack.
Yes, dogs and cats, really good for alerting you to the presence of something sinister.
With cats, I give a little more leeway because they're evil themselves.
Yeah, but they know their own. You ever see like that cat in Pet Sematary 2?
Oh, fair. But they also can just be dicks, so you can't really trust them. Like Phoebe sometimes is just a dick. I love her to death, and it's actually part of her personality that I enjoy, but she's just a dick sometimes.
I think that
with that. Go ahead.
I think the cats are more like mischievous as opposed to outwardly evil.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fair.
Because they could become evil and do evil things, but they also do funny things and really cute things that are really nice. They bring you presents of dead animals, that sort of thing.
Dogs can smell evil and crotch rot. I guess that's fair too.
Yeah.
Cats know their competition. That's why they hate other evil things. Fair. Fair. Demons don't get along, man. We're going to wrap up here. Thank you, guys. I did say that I might try to do a game stream, but it was dependent on how I felt. And I don't know if you can tell, Jack, I've started yawning already.
I know.
I think I'm going to go lay down. We will do one tomorrow if I get better sleep than I did today. I couldn't sleep because of my back hurting, and then I finally get to sleep, and seemed like it was 2 minutes later. It was actually several hours, but Lady Monkey came to bed, and without meaning to, she woke me up, and it was cute. I'm already awake, and she's trying to slowly pull the blankets to her side. I just like, here, have some blankets, just pull them. Ladies, for those of you out there who actually care, and my wife's problem is that she's too caring. So she'll come in the bedroom and she'll try to be really quiet. And she's acting out of character, which, by the way, people will notice even in their sleep.
Yeah.
Because suddenly things sound different.
Yeah, things are different now.
And so she tries to do everything gingerly and quietly. And instead she ends up making a huge fucking racket. Like, just get in bed. I'll go right back to sleep if you didn't drag it out so much. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome. I need to test the Starlink anyway, so maybe I'll do it when I wake up tomorrow, Jack, instead of waiting till after the show.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, it's Phasmo time because they have their Halloween stuff coming up. So I gotta get back in there and get used to it again.
Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you for the donations. You guys are awesome. So kind to us, and we really, really do appreciate it. Anything you want to shill out, Jack?
I dropped a couple of links to some cool videos. As always, thank you so much for the donations. You guys are amazing. If you want to follow any of my channels, they're all listed in the description, along with like our Teespring stores. So yeah, thanks, guys. You guys are awesome, and we have a beautiful audience. Is Tim okay? Is Tim ever okay? Come on.
I think he's being a whiny bitch.
Yeah,
guys, it is 2 weeks from today that we go to the polls. Early vote if you can. I'm probably gonna have to early vote this year, Jack, because we have a grandbaby on the way, and I'm not sure, depending on when she pops out, if I'm gonna have access to a ride to go vote.
well, that's true.
So I have a legit reason, but even if you don't, I mean, that's the thing to do now. So go get your vote counted. Unless you're an idiot and doesn't know what's going on, in which case I 100% beg you not to fucking vote. I'm not one of those people. Yeah, even if you're stupid, vote for Trump. No, if you're stupid, stay home. Thank you guys for everything. We love you. We'll see y'all. Oh, Jack, a pleasure as always.
Always glad to be here.
We'll see y'all next time. Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
That was dead air because I was yawning. Go away now.